Dude, what is it with Sasha calling me every time I'm streaming? That's like the second time in a row. But hello everybody. We're here. It is I, Kane, not Kasugi, and we are going to be doing a different type of stream because, I've been quite quite vocal about my opinions. Let's get the chat up right there. Sorry. Oh, I forgot to tell the Discord. It looks chilly. It is outside. I just kept this on just cuz. Let's ping the Discord server that I am live. Bang. Alright, they know now. They know. Good to see some people. We got Jakari, we got Billy. We got a lot of regulars here, a lot of the regulars. So a lot of you know my opinions already on a lot of these topics. Pretty much, here's how this is going to work. I currently have a list of 10 different opinions on Sasuke, Ninja Warrior, whatever you want to call it. There are 10 different prompts. And with that, when I pop them up on screen, which I will in time, when I pop it up on screen, I will then be looking at Discord, and whoever calls me first is the one who I'm answering. Alright? So if you're not first, you're not getting picked for that specific prompt. You guys are going to look at my lightsaber pen. It's a lightsaber, and then it's a pen. If the cap will come off, it's a pen. It's cool. Anyways, you guys get to pick which prompt you want to debate me on. Alright, so we're not going down the line. We can go in any order. So if you're an A&W fan and you see a bunch of Sasuke prompts early, you can just go straight to the A&W topic, okay? And we can talk about that. And then we'll keep going down the line until there are no topics left. So it'll be fun. Now, if you are not chosen to debate, that's okay, because you still have a role in this debate stream. You will be voting for who won the debate. Yeah, so I'll put out a little poll in I'll put out a poll in the chat. You guys are going to vote who won based off of a combination of two things, okay? Number one, who debated better? I don't care if the person you agreed with is like, if the person that you agree with, you share the same opinion as them, if they're screaming their ass off the whole time and they're just being obnoxious, that's not how you debate. Like, let's get into it. Let's get heated if you want to, but like, we're not gonna be. Don't vote for the blubbering idiots. You know what I'm saying? Let's debate a conversation. So it's who debated better, and also again more of like a, what do you prefer? What do you think? The first thing should definitely be a priority, because I know that, like, simply put, some of y'all's minds just are not going to change with some of these opinions, and that's fine. The goal is not to change anyone's minds. The goal is to see who can argue the best, if that makes sense. If you have the same opinion as me, why are you debating me? Like, you're just going to give me the free win. So, yeah, there's that. I really should have added a punishment to this, but in reality, I'm trying to see if this is a good idea. See if this is something you guys like right now. Maybe I'll do a second one if people like it down the line, because this is something I've wanted to do for a while now. A couple years, actually. So maybe if it does well enough and people like it enough to where there's a sequel or something, we can what do you call? Yeah. So, take a look at the chat right now. I'll put in a chat debate. I'll put in the chat for you guys debate number, and I'll put, instead of that hashtag whatever, the pound sign, I'm gonna put like debate 1, debate 2, 3, all the way up to 10. When you see that come up, that is when you can call, and that is when I will be looking to see who I will be debating against. All right, hope that makes sense. Let me pull up the prompts for you right now. My 10 opinions on the bottom left. I'll read them out loud. Sasuke 17 is the best Sasuke tournament. Sasuke 19 is bad. Sasuke 5 is the best renewal. A&W 12 is in the top half of A&W seasons. The second era of Kunoichi was better than the first, minus pipe hold. Ninja Warrior qualifier and semifinal episodes should not be longer than an hour. Racing in the semifinals is better than the 10 obstacle semis. Nagano is better than Yuji. A&W 11 is not a top 5 season. And my videos are better than the Sasuke nerds. Those are your 10 prompts. You can pick in your mind. I'll give you guys a little bit right now to decide which one you'd want to debate me on. Because once you debate me on it, if the first person wants to debate me on the Kunoichi one, after that one, it's gone. Bang. And that's it. All right? So, have some backups in your head or whatever. But since this is going to be the first debate, it's going to be free pickings for all of you. So, this ought to be fun. Here we go. I'm going to send out debate 1 in the chat very soon. The first person to call me will be the debater. Oh boy. We have Radium in Coffee as our first person to debate in our debate stream. Welcome, Radium. Would you like to preface who you are or anything, or do you want to just tell me your topic?
Oh wait, welcome. Give me a second.
Also, chat, let me know if
I have Jim Goats as my profile piece.
I can hear the stream and him. It's so funny. I can hear him watching the stream. Radium's louder than me. Okay, I'll turn up my gain a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, I muted the stream. Oh, I paused the stream. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Radium, as the first person debating us today, what is the topic you would like to debate?
Let's see. I'm gonna go for racing and semis. For the racing and semis stuff. That's the one that you agree with, like that one, right?
Yes, I believe that racing in semifinals is better than 10 obstacle semifinals.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna debate on that.
Shoot. I didn't decide who goes first. Do you want to spin a wheel?
Yeah, I guess we can spin a wheel.
Okay, let me pull it up on my phone so the chat can see real quick. All right, so whoever the wheel lands on will be first. I will tap that right there. And it looks like I will be going first.
Okay.
All right. Sure thing. Perfect. Okay, I'm just making sure that everything's all good on my end in terms of my setup. All right, so I'll highlight that right there. They know which one we're doing. I believe that racing in the semifinals is better than 10 obstacle semifinals. I'll only be using American Ninja Warrior as a reference. Other shows have done racing in the semifinals, but A&W is really the only one that's done both. Australia has kind of done both, but not the exact same way. Now, when it comes to racing in semifinals, I like that we can get in 2 hours two separate groups. I like that essentially racing semis last an hour. Um, when 10 obstacle semifinals are majority just the same obstacles from the qualifiers, it doesn't really do much extra for me. I'm mainly waiting for the back half. And since there's so many staple obstacles, I'm really only waiting for obstacles 8 and 9, since we always know obstacle 7 is the salmon ladder, and obstacle 10, as of recently, has been the spider trap, but it's typically been the same. Um, I think a lot of the excitement from qualifiers comes from the courses and how the obstacles are going to be rearranged. So for semifinals to not have that rearrangement, it definitely just isn't as exciting to me. I also think that the pacing of the episodes can be really, really dragged out, because you will still get the 2 to 3 minute profile pieces on a competitor, and then they'll take 3 to 5 minutes running the course if they're a very talented competitor that's making it further into the course. Whereas with the semifinals, you still might get a 2 minute profile piece, but it's on two competitors at the same time. You maybe get a little bit of something to paint the rivalry, or some fun facts about them, like an older competitor versus a younger competitor, or the tallest versus the shortest, or something like that. And it's maybe the same time as a semifinal fluff piece on like the other semifinal format, but the races themselves, they go pretty quickly. And it just keeps the ball rolling much more. I also, since I'm focusing specifically on A&W, I appreciate that they do the two wild cards, the two fastest, furthest losers of their races still get to move on. So it's not a complete robbery in terms of the format. Their obstacle choices are pretty solid. Slingshot was definitely a fumble. I will absolutely say that. But I think in general, picking obstacles that you can sprint and link through, definitely the right way to go. And I think it led to some pretty good back and forth action that you don't really get in previous semifinals from previous seasons ahead of season 15, unless there was a power tower race. So that is all I have to say on that.
I'm up now.
Yes.
Okay, I'd say. Wait, is your opinion an absolute or depends? Like, is it always better or sometimes better? Is it?
I'm kind of looking at it in the sense of, if I had to pick one to keep, I would keep racing.
Okay. So I would say what succeeds in it is skill. Like the 10 obstacle semis, while usually the first 6 obstacles are the same, it tests your consistency. You beat the course in qualifiers, but can you beat it again in semis? Yeah. There's also it also tests another skill it tests is like the upper body. The qualities is usually the speed one, while in the semis it's the upper body one, which it tests more skills. Sometimes there's like the jump obstacles in a semi. Like it tests like the qualifiers, tests your overall athleticism, while this back half tests your upper body. There's also the fact that what we saw in AW 16 semis, we saw Eric Middleton clear the course, but not move on, while there were other people who didn't clear the course move on, such as Luke Beckstrand, who was in the same heat as Eric Middleton. And so, the 10 obstacle format doesn't really screw people over, while, the semis, the Ninja versus Ninja format, can screw people over. There's also the fact that it kind of tests the same thing as the qualities. Qualities, we saw in the AW 15 and 16, they were speed based. And it's the same thing again in semis. It's a speedy qualities and a speedy semis. So, and really, the qualities in 15 and 16 is it's also basic athleticism. There's no endurance being tested, no, no upper body being tested too. Is there anything else? Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say from the top of my head.
I'm gonna help both of us out here. I will do a short response, and then you can do a short response, and then we'll have the chat vote. Sound good?
What's the short response? Like, what is it?
Yeah. So I guess my short response would be that we've absolutely seen qualifiers be pumpy, especially the fourth and fifth obstacles, or whichever between obstacle 3 and 4 that isn't the agility obstacle. We've seen those be pretty pumpy. We've seen things like doorknob drop, crank it up, rolling thunder, or salmon roll, which has taken out so many people because of its technicality as well as the endurance factor of it having done the 4 obstacles prior. It's definitely, obviously, a qualifier course is shorter than a semifinal course, so it's going to be faster. And yes, in ANW 15 and 16, it was much more speed focused with that new twist on the mega wall. However, I absolutely see a way where you're being pushed more than the 10 obstacle semis. 10 obstacle semis, they do test your endurance, and that's great. But there is a different type of pump with the adrenaline of running a course, period, and then also having to worry about someone else next to you. It forces more precision, and I would argue it forces more consistency, because now, a simple backswing could be make or break against your opponent. Whereas, maybe you can take some extra swings on an obstacle like box office or something to really make sure that your hands are precise. Now it forces you to be precise on other parts of obstacles. And while it may not be a grippy hold like a little cliffhanger or something, it's still very much about hand placement. It's now more about where your entire body is. If you're going to link an obstacle like spring forward so you can still be ahead of your opponent, your hips have to be in the right spot. Your chest has to be in the right spot. You don't want to be too high above it. You have to make sure that you are perfectly popping, and you also have to make sure you're doing that in about a half second per move, so that way your opponent doesn't catch up to you. Or, if you're on the back foot, you have to make sure that it's perfect and maybe even a little faster than normal, so that way you can catch up to your opponent. And it adds a whole other layer of just athleticism that you don't really get in the qualifiers or semifinals, regardless of what obstacles are chosen. So that is my short response. If there's anything else you would like to add, now's your chance, and then the chat will vote.
Oh, wait. Can I add another? I thought of another point. Can I add that before I do the short response?
Yeah.
Okay. Another point is where you're less likely to get boring runs in a solo course, like 10 obstacle course, than a ninja versus ninja race, because obviously we've seen with in ANW 15 it was pretty lackluster, where it was essential where slingshot was there. You had terrible races like the Alex Romer versus Matt Clans race, and races ending on the 4th obstacle, or a ninja absolutely sweeping another ninja. In solo courses, you're less likely to get that, because really the only way I can think of where you can get a boring run is a bad one, or is that it's a ninja is your, when a competitor spends most of their time resting than attempting an obstacle, and you can see it's also entertaining. Can they beat this obstacle? Can they beat the gauntlet thingy? That's from thingy. Yeah. Ice. Yeah, and really, yeah. And really, even if it's an answer, it's definitely not, unless, it was an absolute fluff piece, you're less likely to get disappointed by a second. You're more, and even if someone fails on the second obstacle, you're less likely to get disappointment, unless, there's they somehow got a massive fluff piece, then when 2 competitors fail on this second obstacle. It's like I wouldn't wait. That second obstacle wouldn't be considered bad on a solo course, but on a on a ninja versus ninja, it would people, it would. I say it would be this feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but but experiencing a
that.
solo. Okay, yeah.
You're trying to say like
And
you're trying to say like as a viewer, it's not exciting to watch a race where someone falls early and then the other person just
yeah.
wins right away.
Well,
I can understand that.
yeah, yeah.
All
And I
right.
think that's my point right there. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
with that, the poll is about to be live in the chat, folks. Be sure to vote for who won this debate based off of who communicated their points better, as well as a little bit of, who do you agree with more? Currently only 2 voters, so I think I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to give it like a minute. I think a solid minute of votes is enough. And if it ends in a tie, it ends in a tie. This is a very, very close one. Okay, I believe the minute is up. We had 5 votes. And in a 3-2 split, 60% to 40%, I have taken the dub. But very well done, Radium. I could have seen that going either way, especially at the end, considering I couldn't defend myself from your point about races ending, pretty early. So very, very good job. Perhaps I will see you again for another prompt later on. All right, well, whew. With that, everybody. Oh, hold up. Hold on. Just some family plans. Okay. All right. With that said, we are now going to take this one off. There are now 9 topics left to debate, and we will get started with that right about now. Oh boy. Oh boy, this was fast. Shocker. I wonder what he's going to debate. Billy! Mr.
We're
Billy
in. I'm in a
Vids.
Kane not Kasugi video. My day's gone infinitely better.
Billy Videos.
That's my name.
Okay, Billy, I have a feeling you're going to pick between 2 topics. So let's
Right, what do
see.
you think? Well, take a guess then. What are your 2? What are your 2?
Yeah, I think you're
What are
going
you
to
thinking?
either debate me on Sasuke 19 or you're going to debate me on the YouTube videos.
Neither, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that Sasuke 5 is the best renewal. I personally disagree.
I was actually really excited to debate this one, so I'm pretty hyped about that. Sasuke 5 is the best renewal. I have the wheel right here on my phone. Let's
get spinning, lads.
That wheel. There's a weird glare there, but it looks like I am going again. There we have it.
Right then. The stage is yours, my friend.
Okay. So, Sasuke 5. Obviously came right after the first ever total victory with Kazuhiko Akiyama, and therefore this is the first renewal in Ninja Warrior history. So, I think they kept some obstacles that... let me back up a little bit. I do not believe that a renewal has to have a complete overhaul to be a good renewal. Um, Obviously, Sasuke 18, I think, is a very good renewal. Pretty much completely new. Um, but I don't think it needs to be that in order to have quality. And I'm assuming you are going to bring up either Sasuke 18 or 25 to counter me. So I'm going to just start with 18 in comparison to 5. With Sasuke 5, they kept a lot of the obstacles that they knew were still problems for people. You know, they still had the rolling log, which had been such a ninja killer throughout its first few appearances. So obviously, why take it away if it's still doing damage to the course? We saw the inclusion of the jump hang, which is a new idea. And then immediately after that, we saw the evolution of the Sosori Tatsukabe with the Sori Tatsukabe, also known as the Warped Wall, which means there was a good mix of keeping things that they knew worked, introducing things that maybe enhanced the course, which in my opinion at the time, jump hang absolutely enhanced stage 1, made it way tougher. And then of course they're also evolving parts of stage 1, like the introduction of the Warped Wall, to make it new while still somewhat familiar. It's the idea that everything is getting tougher along the lines of, you know, we're taking things that we know and introducing some things that we don't, but we are just evolving the course. Whereas I feel with Sasuke 18, we don't necessarily get that evolution. We get things like the Great Wall. And that's like one of their most notable evolutions, and it was scrapped after one tournament. I also I appreciate the fact that Higuchi had a bunch of ideas laying around. I have no problem with that, you know, but there's also the idea of Sasuke 5 didn't have to just throw 50 curveballs in order to have a bloodbath, in order to have, you know, a super difficult tournament that throws down the gauntlet. I think a part of a renewal's job is not only to make it tougher on the competitors, but to make the audience feel as if it is once again impossible to achieve total victory. And while Sasuke 18 does a good job at that, you know, I think Sasuke 5 just does a little bit better. We obviously see that reflect in the clear rate of Sasuke 5's stage 1. Stage 2 getting dog walked is probably the biggest argument against Sasuke 5 that I could give it. But even then, I think Sasuke 5 did its job perfectly, and we didn't have Bungee Bridge. So, and then in the context of Sasuke 25, which is probably the third best renewal in Sasuke, I would just have to say that there wasn't enough original content for me to feel like it was truly a dangerous tournament. And then it also didn't really help that they just went back to what they were doing beforehand in 26 and beyond. So that is my initial argument. You have the floor.
Okay, here's the thing, right? My initial thought for this wasn't me thinking that 18 or 25 were better than it. I'm going to take a left field pick out of my bloody collage of opinions and say that 14's renewal was huge. Okay, and I'll talk about why. Okay, if you looked at the scale for specifically stages 1 and 3 in Sasuke 12 and 13, for example, you know, stage 1 in 12 and 13, relatively short, about 6-7 obstacles, wasn't too much going on. It didn't feel that threatening to the veterans like the All-Stars at the time who could go ahead and clear it. That's why in like 11 and 12, shut up Shane, in like 11 and 12, all the All-Stars cleared, a lot of the veterans cleared. It didn't feel that intimidating, all right? In 14, all right, the stages 1 and 3, they were extended in terms of scale, all right? Stage 1 became over 100 meters long to run, and stage 3 added 3 more obstacles to the end of it. And throughout time, and throughout like the course of how stages 1 and 3 have evolved over the years internationally, those scales have left a large legacy worldwide, you know? And it also led in to stage 1 in 18's renewal, for example, and 25's renewal. That scale of the actual stage, over 100 meters long, it made it felt endurance based as well as a speed stage. Put both of them together, you get something really, really cool. All right. The problem with it, though, because I will say that thing isn't perfect. Up to this point, right now, we're in the Big 24. It's gotten a bit too long, I think. In kind of a grand scheme, I think it's because it's been done to death for decades now. It is just kind of a bit stale. But at the time, it was very, very revolutionary if you look into it in the same deal. As well as, like, for example, in 14, the results that you got, you still had a bunch of clears at 14 in stage 1. But even then, that definitely weeded out the weak, essentially, for a few people that didn't clear in 13, 12, and 11 and all that, separating itself from that past group of tournaments, all right? And then, also Metal Spin being included, nice little cherry on top, I think, in stage 2. It didn't do its job in 14, but again, 15 it took out Nagano, and then 16 it cut the field in half. So it did have a legacy in the long run in that regard. And yeah, in 14, stage 3 did its job perfectly. It had an opportunity to really show new blood. You just had the curtain cling as well from 13 be included, taking out 1 or 2 people within that time frame. And stage 3 was still very, very difficult. That's why 14's renewal stopped us from getting a Nagano Kanzen, or maybe some other people Kanzening like Takeda, or maybe Akiyama again, or anyone really, really good early in that era. It stopped it from happening. And what's the renewal supposed to do? It's supposed to stop the feat of getting a Kanzen, stopping it from making it easy. And I think 14 really, really amplified it in a way that not people really have looked at before. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, my quick response. Firstly, I wanna give you credit for that, because that is pretty outside the box, and I love Sasuke 14. I think it's a great tournament, and I'm glad that someone's giving it its flowers right now. I think for me, they do 2 different things, Sasuke 5 and Sasuke 14. And when I think about what I want out of a renewal, I prefer what Sasuke 5 did. I think with Sasuke 14, the extended half of, stage 3 specifically, it told people, like, hey, now there's going to be a little bit more to go. But, it did end up getting beaten in about 3 tournaments. It was one of those things where it took them not very long, them being the competitors, to figure out Sasuke 14. This was kind of them saying, like, hey, now you got to do a little bit of extra work. Now you're going to have to learn a couple of new things and maybe get a little stronger, which I think is a great thing. I think that could have been saved personally till Shin Sasuke, just saying, but at the same time, I'm not mad that we got it at all. But I think with Sasuke 5, it just established that you're going to have to be on an entirely different level to become the next champion. And the only 3 people to clear the first stage being all-stars, not all-stars at the time, but those 3 became all-stars, I think it speaks volumes as to just how difficult it was and just how loud of a message it was sending to the audience, to the other competitors, really letting everyone know, like, hey, it's not just a little bit of thing. It's not a little bit of adjustment that you'll have to make. It's not a couple of new obstacles that you'll have to learn. You're going to have to really, really dig deep across all stages, across almost every single obstacle. And some of these you just can't replicate. We saw the funny little rolling log on a string that people would pull. That's the best replica that they could make, and that's it's one of those things where you had to almost hope for the best. You would work your butt off for it, but Sasuke 5 was also like, yeah, that's not going to work anymore. You're going to have to really, really dig deep. and I think it set a great precedent moving forward. And I think, you know, Yamada, of course, was the first one ahead of Sasuke 5 to really be grinding on Sasuke obstacles ahead of the tournament. And I think the intensity of Sasuke 5's difficulty at the time led to a larger movement of that. And that's why we saw so many more people building replicas and so many more people training. Obviously, a lot of impact there. And again, sending a very strong message to everyone involved in the show. And that is all I've got.
Yeah.
So now your quick response.
I do get you on that, but then again, the same kind of message and motive can be spread to other renewals, such as 18 and 14, for example. Because let's think about it. In the timeline of Sasuke at this point, the year 2000 is when Sasuke 5 comes around. That renewal happens. Obviously, it is a big deal. People do need to realize that they need to get better at the thing that they're doing. But as they've done that for like 5 years at that point, up until 14 comes around, they're already used to that. And it's cool to see already the really, really strong competitors who have really, really hit their stride in the last couple of tournaments, so 11, 12, 13, and realize, oh, even then they still have to carry on progressing throughout the very, very long stage 1, the metal spin that they now need to worry about that did mess up a couple of people, such as Nagano, and to a lesser extent people like Kobayashi, Koji Yamada, and people like that. And then obviously, like, even then, it took 2 years for Nagano to actually clear the bloody extended third stage, you know? It took them years, and even though they're grinding it constantly, it worked for them getting further into it, but it still didn't hit the full clear within it, you know?
Yo,
And
new subscriber. Thank you, DWJ Promotions. Nice to see it. Sorry, Billy.
it's all good. Thanks for subbing to Kane. But yeah, it was cool to see their progression, and I do get your point that it was a turning point, but I'm willing to say that 14 was a turning point of a turning point. You know, a little part to that turning point, which made it a bit more powerful, I think, in the grand scheme. Because again, you look at 14. A bigger picture, everything's just scaled up a lot more, and it makes the obstacles a lot more feared. Even though nowadays, the average Ninja League competitor, for example, they could dog walk all of the stages, particularly. It's such a unique style for both of those stages, 1 and 3, that they did need to grind it out, and they did need to master it if they wanted to get closer to a Kanzen.
Okay. I like this. I like this because, like, I feel like this is a debate that we like where we both can agree with each other.
Yeah.
I like this, and I hope that some people see Sasuke 5 differently now. I hope some people see Sasuke 14 differently now. With that, oh man, the poll is up. We are going to leave the poll open for a minute, and then I will send the message debate 3 in the chat to discuss the next topic. Oh, dude, these are going up and down and back and forth right now, these results. This is very interesting.
I just want to say that I'm not voting for myself or Kane.
Yeah, I'm not voting for any of these, just a disclaimer.
Can you even do that as the stream host?
Yeah, I have in the past, just to break ties when no one's active.
Did you do this for the bloody draft stream?
No, I didn't vote on the draft stream.
Okay, good.
Oh, well, I'm waiting for it to hit 4:42 Eastern time. We are still at 4:41. And bang.
42 now.
We have 10 votes this time around, and it was a tie, 5-5. Well done, Billy. I will say, I'm not even going to lie, dude. Kind of wild. The first, 7 votes, it was 5-2 you. Like, you were, you were crushing me, right out the gate. And I was like, oh, crap, I lost. And then, yeah, the last few people trickled on in, and now we're all tied up. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Subscribe to Billy Vids, everybody.
Yep.
No one knows what he said now. No one knows what he said now. Just a reminder to some of you guys, because I see you're joining a little later. What's up, Blank? What's up, Shane? What's up, Merte? Again, I will send a debate and a number. So the next one's going to be debate 3. I'll send that message in the chat. You call me on Discord. The first person to call me will be the one that I answer. And then you guys pick your topic to debate. I will now remove Sasuke 5 is the best renewal from the list. We still have 8 to go, folks. 8 to go. Debate number 3 is up. Let me check Discord to see who calls me first. Bro, that was fast. Casey.
Hi. Okay,
What's
wait,
up,
hold on.
Casey?
Let me put it on. All right. Can they hear me okay?
Yeah, I think they can hear you just fine.
All right. So, hi, Shattuck. Okay. I am here to debate. The videos are better than TSN's, and I'm here to dispute that.
Oh, okay. This is not who I thought was going to debate this with me. I thought someone from TSN was going to jump in. So this will be very interesting.
Backup. This was backup, but I feel confident.
Oh, that's right. You're an ANW 12 truther as well, huh? So you weren't
Yes,
that with me.
Absolutely.
Let's
I'm
go.
an ANW.
All right, let's pull up the wheel here. I am blue.
All right.
Casey is red.
Period.
And I'm going first again. This is insane.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
My videos are better than TSN's. That is the topic. This was meant to be a meme.
Oh my god.
I am a part of both channels, but here we go. All right. So,
okay.
Number 1 reason why my videos are not whoa. Number 1 my reason the number 1 reason my videos are better than the Sasuke nerds is because I don't have to script my videos. And that's not to say, that's not to say script in the sense that, every interaction is fake. But,
right.
When they're doing more informational videos, they have to give Shane, shut the frick up. Oh, yeah. Shane, yeah, and Shattuck. Yeah, no, I don't need to write out paragraphs of complete thoughts in 5-page Google Docs in order to put out a video that's going to put up hundreds of views. Which, again, we're talking hundreds. They may outview me on the bigger videos, but my big videos are more cinematic as well. Have you seen the Worlds video? Like, the Worlds video?
Yes, I did see that.
Crazy. There is nothing out right now from TSN that looks as good as the Worlds vlog does. I also think I'm funnier.
Oh,
I'm funnier. I'm funnier than all of them. And when we do a stream that is funny on TSN, it's typically my idea. Sasuke, my idea. The hot take stream that we did last year, my idea.
Right.
And like those were things that were also streamed on my channel. My POV of Sasuke is still out there. And you get some different POVs with like Lee's POV on TSN, and Lee's POV is good, but I'm the one who's consistently putting out that stuff. I also am doing some other styles of content. You got the reviews, you got the gaming, you got the competitions, you got random streams like this, and I think I'm just more versatile. I think I can just you want me in this genre? Bang, I'm there. You want me in that genre? Bang, I'm right there. So it's like they're really good at what they do. Don't get me wrong. And again,
right.
I am part of TSN, so it's not like I'm like completely biased here. But I do have to give myself the edge, man. If I were to sit down and I had a long day at work, I wanna watch something that's gonna entertain me. I'm gonna go straight to my channel first over TSN, and that is the lightsaber pen drop. The floor is now yours.
Okay, so I see this in 2 ways: quality and variety. You want to talk about the fact that you don't need to script your videos? We can tell. But the fact of the matter is, TSN videos consistently reach a greater variety of the ninja sphere, multiple people, so different opinions, different nuances. They tend to go a lot deeper into topics beyond just simpler reviews and stuff like that, which there's nothing wrong with that, but in particular, I've always been drawn to how informational the TSN videos are. And yeah, I'd say that in particular, as well as the fact that, I mean, the numbers don't lie. And, what was I going to say? Okay, anyway, yeah, I think it's a greater variety and a greater quality of the videos. They can reach so many aspects, from Vegas obstacles, looking at their channel right now, to delivering news, which they did last week, vlogs. That TSN in real life video was incredible. And I mean, they reach leagues, they reach shows, they reach international shows beyond just Sasuke and AEW. I'd say they really have it. I'd say they really have it. That's my opinion. The floor is yours for the short response.
Sure. I will start off by saying the world's vlog on TSN was me. I edited that one, as well as many of their, well, not many, but I've edited a good handful of their videos, but I edited that one most notably. And I think it's very similar to the style of video that I make. In terms of the variety and whatnot, I actually reach quite a large amount of people on my channel just because of the amount of people that I've interacted with, you know, especially at Worlds and whatnot. You know, I end up meeting a lot of Germans, a lot of French, a lot of, you know, Israelis, whoever. So now my audience is starting to become a lot more diverse than it ever has been in recent years, which I think is great. Obviously, TSN has more pull in Japan, you know, with things like the Sportsman doc definitely pulling more of a Japanese audience. I actually think their audience is predominantly Japanese. I could double check that later. But in terms of a wider spread, I do believe that if I were to look at the analytics of both, which I can, I'm pretty sure I have more countries watching as a whole. When it comes to the deeper level of conversation and whatnot, I definitely appreciate what TSN does with that. No one's ever going to really be able to replicate that. But I think I do that in my own way with Soapbox. And it's one of those where, you know, we can sit down and not just talk about what is going on and why. It can be more of a, how can we be proactive in this sport or this franchise of shows that we're passionate about. And I think that's something that, you know, they're both along the same lines of, you know, going deeper, but they provide something different. And I think the added portions of like discussions in Soapbox where people can share their opinions as well, and, you know, a lot more of the who, what, when, where, why, I think that adds a lot to the credibility of those types of streams. So that is all I got.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I kind of reached what I was going to say in the first place with quality and variety. I mean, the videos, it's no lie. 5-hour Sasuke All-Stars video, hour-long Ryan Stratus interview. Like, they know how to go full out and not only just, like, reach that audience, but satisfy that audience. They are eating good in the TSN world. That's pretty much the gist of it. And I don't really have much else to say, so...
All right. And I've also just been corrected Billy, I want you to pull up the lifetime stats. Right now, in the last month, more Americans have watched TSN, and Japan is second. I want to say that's different lifetime, but I don't know for sure. I'll get an answer from him at some point. But let me set up the poll now.
Hands off, but you guys can vote. Vote me for president.
Bang. All right, the poll is officially up. Once again, we are voting based off of who, like,
5 votes already.
Who, you know, illustrated their thoughts better, as well as who you agree more with as like a second priority. When it hits 53, I will close the poll. Currently at 8 votes. There currently is not a tie. It is not 4-4.
Oh God.
I think it's
I mean,
5.
I get like
Oh,
complete
snap.
all the
I
I'm
will
gonna
say,
get blown out.
Casey, it is 5-4 right now.
Oh my God. Is it me in favor?
I will not say. It is
Okay,
now.
fine.
It is now tied. It's now tied.
Oh my
again.
God. Oh my God.
And that's it. And I think you guys can. I want to say. Oh, yo, wait, what? What?
Oh my God.
No, okay.
Y'all
Let
are
me tell you. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, Lifetime
What the
is.
fuck?
Okay, first off, Lifetime. Billy sent me the Lifetime stats. Japan is still second, but it's a lot closer than the percentages from a month. It's probably just Sportsman Doc that warps that, honestly. Okay, I'm going to be completely real. One, you can hear when I click my mouse, guys. You can hear when I click my mouse, so you could only hear it when I click it to end the poll. When I clicked end poll, it was 50-50, 5-5. I clicked end poll and it pulled up as me. I don't know how it happened. Someone like literally voted at the last possible second.
That literally could have been God. That literally could have been God.
That was actually insane. Everyone's screaming rigged, bro.
God came down and was like, Casey, you fucking suck at debates. Like
No, I'm gonna be completely real, Casey. I fully thought you had me. Especially with the amount that I fumbled at the beginning. And then also you were way funnier than me this time around. So I was like, dang, I'm cooked.
Oh my God.
That was great.
All right, see ya.
Great job, Casey. Bye. Okay, wow. Dude, these are getting good. These are getting really good. I'll cut that one out so we have 7 prompts left. We are now going to jump into debate number 4. There are 7 topics left. Please make sure you have your topic in mind. You can't just be calling me ahead of time blank. Wait until you see debate 4. I didn't even send the message in the chat, bro. When you see debate 4 in the chat, then you call me. All right? I just sent the message. It'll pull up now. Should be getting a call. Oh. It was quick. It was very quick. This will be a fun one. This is going to be so funny. I can already tell. It's Mr. Shaneco. What's up, Shane? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, you know.
I'm
on
already
break right
gonna
now.
highlight
Going good.
exactly what you want to debate because I just know. I just know.
Hold on. What do you think? Give me 3. The top 3 you think I want to pick.
I think the number 1 that you want to debate me on is Sasuke 17 is the best tournament. You're gonna say Sasuke 23. I think the Sasuke 19 one is on the radar, and I think the Nagano Yuji debate is definitely one that I could see us having.
I have no interest in the Nagano Yuji one. I don't care enough. Yeah, no, you're right. It's the 17 one.
Yeah, okay, so for context, everybody, we've had this conversation before. We're going to hash it out one more time outside of the group chats. I am a diehard Sasuke 17 fan, and Shane is a diehard Sasuke 23 fan. Sasuke 23 is like my second or third. It depends on the day. It like flip-flops with Sasuke 24. So let's get the wheel. Maybe I won't be first this time.
Okay.
Never mind. It's just gonna be me again. Wait.
All right, that's fine.
It hit red. Oh, you're up first, Shane. Bang.
Oh, I'm up first. Okay.
This is the first time I'm not going first. Thank goodness.
Okay. So I'm not gonna make this like a why Sasuke 17 is overrated because I don't think that. I think 17's like top 5. Definitely not gonna dispute that. But I think 23 is the best Sasuke tournament because it just has so much to offer on all regards. Stage 1, absolute blast throughout it. You have the Americans, you have the different veterans that have done so well throughout Shin Sasuke and even before, because you have like Kenji Takahashi making a comeback, you have Okuyama and then Lee from the past like 3 tournaments basically.
And then there's the ongoing story of the new stars, all stars, which I'd say honestly maybe reaches a peak here. Because if you're a huge fan of the all stars, you're gonna absolutely love this tournament. There's like so many enthralling moments with all of them. Takeda, it's not as incredible as a moment as in 24, but he literally does his absolute best after 17 here. Um, I'm trying to think. I think the new obstacles are good. Current slider, I'm not going to defend a lot, but unstable bridge, absolute classic. Top 5 stage 2 obstacle ever, maybe. Stage 2 as a whole is just so much fun because you have all the new stars that did so well in stage 1 just utterly failing at the salmon ladder. And then it just completely, like, stage 2 completely breaks that immersion of new stars versus all stars because they all screw up, and the all stars, even though they seemed like washed for 3 years straight, do like so well. And then stage 3 is just such a calm. Like, I know people argue with stage 3, oh, like, I don't like seeing everyone, like, I don't like seeing all these full runs and everyone make it far. But, like, I feel like the tournament built up to it so well to where it's like, I want to see all of them run the full course. Because now it's where it's like, some of these competitors have finally adapted to where they can beat the Shin cliffhanger, and it's really satisfying. But, the back half of the course is still super challenging. And I know what you're going to say about the final stage. I already know what you're going to say about the timer. Me personally, I think me and Kane, I don't know if you can agree on me with this. I know you're a big story guy. I don't know if you've said that before.
Oh yeah.
But I love the stories too. And me personally, I think Nagano not getting a Kanzen the second time was better for the story of the show. Because obviously the timer change is weird, but in the end, he didn't climb it fast enough. He knew the timer beforehand, and he didn't climb it fast enough. I feel like if the 10-second drop, then I could understand maybe, but a 5-second drop, it's clear that it was possible, um, and he just didn't do it. And it was a great finish to the tournament. It really set the stage for 24, and I honestly think anyone that says 23 is like 24 light, I think they're wrong because I think 23 is better. Yeah, floor is yours.
Well said. Just a reminder to everyone, as I said earlier, Sasuke 23 is probably my second or third favorite tournament. I still have nothing but love for Sasuke 23, but there is pretty much only one tournament I will definitively put above it, and it is Sasuke 17. Really, when I'm looking at Sasuke, when we talk about stories, the way I see it is, there are different eras of the show, as we all know, and I am pretty much of the opinion that it is the greatest chapter of a story in any era of Sasuke. 17 is the finale of this era, and I think it does a great job at, honestly, very fulfilling moments for pretty much every aspect. I don't think the course definitely wasn't the course is good. It's not as hard as it is in Shin Sasuke, but it didn't need to be because, as Billy was saying earlier, Sasuke 14 to 16 set a new precedent and made stage 3 harder, namely stage 3 harder. So we do see a lot of people who are all contenders as well. I feel like it's one of the few tournaments where we see there's many contenders. It could have gone to any of the All-Stars, pretty much any of the All-Stars, minus a few. It could have gone to some hot shots. We get the big breakout of Shunsuke as well, which is huge. And I guess what I'm trying to say is this is a great way to end the era that Sasuke fans got invested with, but it's also a great way to set up for what is to come. It already started to plant some seeds of, who the new stars would end up being, Shunsuke being the most obvious example, but then you also had Lien Chi was in there, and that was like his first appearance, and he did all right, and they're slowly planting the seeds. The course wasn't nerfed. The course was pretty consistent overall with how it was in the previous tournaments, and it truly came down to, will the competitors do better? And you get good endings and bittersweet endings. which is, I think, a good balance of both, honestly, for a lot of standout competitors. I mean, obviously, you see Nagano finally get the win that he so badly wanted, and in my opinion, very badly deserved. You get the bittersweet endings, you know, like Takeda falling on the pipe slider. Obviously, everyone wanted to root for him. Everyone thought that when he made it to the pipe slider, it was finally going to be his time to make it past stage 3, and you don't get that, and it sucks. And not in the sense that it brings the quality down. It's just you feel bummed, and it made me feel more highs and lows. I also think that there was just something in the air, like right off the bat when it comes to Sasuke 17. Like, it was just the sense of someone's winning today, and it wasn't a matter of will someone do it. It was a matter of who was going to do it, and it was a matter of like how many people were going to make it to the final. It just, everyone seemed hungrier, and it fully changed the atmosphere, and it's absolutely translated to what we see on screen. Whatever. Anyways, when it comes to Sasuke 23, though, I agree with pretty much all of your points. As much of a Nagano fan as I am, a lot of you guys know this, you know, I'm okay with him losing. I would have liked for him to won twice. I think it would have been totally badass for him to say that he, like, fell on stage 1 because of a malfunction and basically did 5 stages in the day and still won the whole thing. I think that would have been a tough-ass statement. However,
that's true.
It's like him losing is definitely not something that ruins the tournament for me. What brings it down for me over, like, what puts it at number 2 under Sasuke 17 is the fact that I just didn't care enough about the other competitors, both leading up to the tournament as well as leading into the later stages of the tournament. I think Sasuke 23 is the one that made me care about the competitors after Sasuke 23 happened. Like, after Sasuke 23, Kano was like my guy when it came to the Shinsekai. He was by far my favorite member of the Shinsekai, and I followed Kano's journey throughout the tournaments that followed 23. I think the Yuji shock fail definitely was nice, but I also just don't think that the Shinsekai really cemented themselves as a consistent, cohesive group for me to follow them. I was still more invested in the All-Stars than I was in the Shinsekai because they just, to me, didn't feel as established. On the other hand, you have the Americans, and, you know, I'm not really going to include how they were portrayed on TBS because, you know, we don't really get much out of the Americans at all in Sasuke 23, but the best way I can put it is when a foreigner does really well right away and then isn't able to improve after that, it doesn't really excite me. That's how a lot of people feel about, like, Jordan Yochev. He had a great run in Sasuke 8. He never replicated that success. He got close-ish. He got to the 3rd stage, you know? But, you know, a lot of people just kind of rolled Jordan Yochev off of their backs, being like, all right, well, it was a good try, but whatever. And I'm going to be completely real. As entertaining as he is, as much as I love the guy, seeing Levi fall on the Shin cliffhanger again was probably the moment that just made me go, well, all right. And it made me care a little bit less about Levi, honestly. So okay. I guess what I'm saying is the only thing that differentiates Sasuke 17 and 23 to me is how attached I am to the competitors and how it makes me attached to the competitors. With Sasuke 17, it has the advantage of we're invested in these competitors and their stories from the entire era that came before this tournament. Whereas with Sasuke 23, we're in the middle towards the end of Shin Sasuke, and there's still not a clear front runner or front runner group. So I felt like I was just watching, you know? And that's not necessarily,
that's fair.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel it's less complete because of that than Sasuke 17.
Okay. I think that, that's good. Those are good points. Definitely.
Feel free to
I
be
think.
longer on this one because I just realized I went on for a long time here. So yeah, feel free to take your time
I
with your
mean, that's
responses.
fine. I like am literally like about to eat dinner, so I'll make like my back points quick. But I guess I will. The one thing I'll go back to 23 on is I think you have a fair point on Levi. I guess for me, it doesn't bother me as much because for Levi, like I think about those American stories in relation to A and W. So it's like Levi also had that build up in A and W, where like that kind of ties into like not tragic story, but almost just the wasted potential he had. Where after that, he truly just kept getting ripped from that success because in AW2 he got NW2 he got injured, where he probably would have made it back to Japan. NW3 wasn't there, and NW4 we all know what happened. So that's kind of how I look at that. But I definitely see what you mean. I guess with 17 for me, like I think you have a good point with how like we've seen these competitors develop like longer than we did for 23. But I guess for me that just makes 23 feel a little more fresh. Like 17, it doesn't, but it kind of at some points it kind of blends in with 14 to 16 for me. Like it's very similar course. Again, all the competitors are established, but it's a lot of those same competitors that do good. And I don't know, for me it just kind of doesn't have I don't want to like, put down 17, but I feel like me personally it doesn't have as many moments as 23 that stick out in that story wise. But obviously at the same time, everything you said is right. Like stage 3, especially, is near perfect. Like I wouldn't change anything from that point on. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I guess that's really my main point against 17.
I can't believe we're like both criticizing and glazing our two favorite tournaments at the same time. Like
Oh yeah,
this is so funny to me. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I don't know what else I could say. I guess if I had to say anything, it's just Sasuke. When it comes to Sasuke specifically, especially in the past eras, being so frequently released, like they were 2 to 3 tournaments a year in that era. Um, I think for me, I craved consistency, and I still do more than anything. Like that's why I'm such a big fan of Yusuke. I love that he is consistently dominating. I love that he is consistently the top dog. Others they don't really like that. So I do feel like in terms of us, it's just like different strokes, different folks. Um,
yeah.
and
No,
so
I think so.
it didn't really bother me seeing like who made it to stage 3. Um, it was just more of a, how would I describe it? I mean, it was getting me into 23 was getting me into the new competitors. But 17 to me just was like I was looking at every runner and I was like, man, they're awesome. That's great. Of course they'd make it there. This is great. And
That's
I
true.
and personally, given like what was in the air for Sasuke 17, um, it felt like a winning tournament. Even like the trailers for Sasuke 17 tell you someone wins, but when you're watching on G4 or if you just go straight to the actual broadcast, they don't really hype that. Well, the TBS does, but G4 not really. You could just tell that there was something in the air though. And for me,
Yeah,
I wanted to see at that point the best get to stage 3 because it meant I could see as many showdowns as possible.
that's fair. I got that.
All right. Well, let's put up the poll. I don't know where any of my tabs are right now. What is this? The fourth debate?
Yeah.
Okay. Who won debate 4? Kane or Shane? I'm not gonna lie. If someone starts yelling at me about Sasuke 19, I will yell back, and it will be hilarious. Like we could just make memes at
Yeah.
that
No,
point.
you should. You should.
Oh.
Appreciate it, DWJ Promotions.
Kane not Kasugi versus Shane not Kasugi.
Yeah. Literally, I feel like we both made pretty good points.
Yeah,
I
I
don't really,
agree. This is honestly a very close one. The votes are very much reflecting that. When it hits 5:13, I will end the poll. It is currently not a tie because there's an odd number of votes. There were 11 votes. And upon ending it, it is 6-5. I have taken the win.
Damn, alright.
That was very close. Well done, Shane.
Alright,
Always good
that was
catching
good,
up with
man.
you, bro.
Yeah, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you. Okay, well, now we cut that. I am surprised that I'm winning as much as I do. Different criteria really do change things, because if this was just who agrees with me more, I'd be getting destroyed right now. Ill Vitamin Sasuke 22 is not better than either of those tournaments. It's just not. Well, I've sent out the next message. Yo! Hey, yo! Shattuck! What's up?
Hello. Yo, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I
All right.
think we're good. Okay, Shattuck. I'm very excited because every time we speak on the server and whatnot, like, I feel like we both feel equally strongly about our opinions. So I'm very excited to throw down here. What is the topic you would like to debate?
Okay, so there's one that I keep going back to, and it's ANW 11 is not a top 5 season.
Okay. I like this
Yeah.
one. I like this one. All right. Pulling out the wheel. I am blue. Shattuck is red. Get a little bit of purple when it spins. And it is going to land
So
on...
just a refresher. So I'm arguing against it like it is a top 5.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, I will start off by saying ANW 11 has a lot of very high quality moments. There's obviously some really great things when it comes to specific episodes. I think the Cincinnati semifinals were insanely good. You know, I think you have some really strong moments in Vegas specifically. And at the time, before he was outed as a pedophile and everything, Drew Dreschel winning A&W was one of the most satisfying endings to an A&W season at the time. You know?
I agree with that.
Obviously, that did not age well because he gets arrested, but I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just focusing on what we saw on TV versus the other seasons that I've seen of A&W, which is all of them. A&W 11 started off pretty all right with the qualifiers. I don't think they were anything special. I don't think they were anything terrible. I personally appreciated the new Mega Wall rules. I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was a perk. And I had a decent time watching the qualifiers of A&W 11. There's nothing that really sticks out in my mind too much as like this monumental thing. We did have the introduction of the Power Tower with Speed Pass races. And I thought, you know, the Power Tower was a nice touch to qualifiers. And it was a good way to keep racing around in Ninja without making it the center point. You know, we're not changing the format too much. We're just adding a little extra oomph. So I liked the qualifiers for sure. The semifinals is where it really starts to lose me. First off, I'll state the obvious. We had 2 episodes back to back with no finishers in the semifinals at all in Tacoma and Baltimore. Baltimore obviously being the worst one with Angry Birds having that massacre. It was just not enjoyable to watch. It was not fun. There was nothing entertaining about watching your favorites really, really struggle and do really bad. And the only saving grace that the Tacoma episode had for semifinals, in my opinion, was Jesse Graff's run. So I can't really give it that much credit in terms of those two episodes. I'm gonna be completely honest in terms of the semifinals afterwards, or the semifinals before that. I mean, because after that was Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati was great. The semifinals before that, they're kind of forgettable to me. They all kind of blur together. I can pick out the cities and like I know the notable runners in each episode and whatever. Like I remember their runs. But there were only a couple that really stuck out to me. Obviously, the two biggest ones being like Drew's run and Daniel's run in the city finals. Those were the only two that really blew me away. The rest I was just like, I'm watching. And it's fine, but it's also not blowing me away. Coming off of the heels of A&W 10, I think A&W 10 did better with their semifinals and their qualifiers overall, especially in terms of consistency and higher quality on its more mediocre ones, like the mid-range episodes. I think A&W 10 did better there. I'm not going to say anything about A&W 10's Vegas because I think it's ass. But then we get to... Oh, actually, with semifinals of A&W 11, I have a hard time with the format. Obviously, the elephant in the room, safety passes. I don't think any of us here really like safety passes. I really don't like safety passes. So to have them use safety passes throughout the entire episode of every city finals as like the big thing that we're going to dangle over your head for 2 straight hours, I didn't enjoy that. I also had a hard time with the leaderboards. It's not that they were bad. It's just that they were hard to follow when you throw in the speed pass winners and the women's leaderboard all at the same time. It just felt like there were too many moving parts. And when I looked at the leaderboards at the end of the episode, you know, I was confused. I had to have someone on the Discord explain to me how it worked. So that way I could make sure that I was following it correctly. So that's just me in that regard. And then when it comes to Vegas, there was the, you know, whole clear fest on stage 2. I didn't hate stage 2 having so many people clear, because it let stage 3 shine. I'm honestly, you know, I'm a stage 3 guy. Stage 3 is my favorite stage out of just across any Ninja Warrior anything. So seeing so many people get to try stage 3 and go from 21 people to 2, I thought that was really cool. But also stage 2 became a bit boring to watch because there was so much success. I wouldn't say it was bad. I would just say it didn't engage me a lot. And then having to follow all of the athletes who had safety pass runs on stage 1 and stage 2 was pretty exhausting, honestly. And you could tell that the athletes themselves were exhausted. I remember Matisse Awadi specifically, as well as Dave Kavanaugh and Flip Rodriguez, although Flip was injured. The energy was just significantly lower with all 3 of them. Matisse Awadi, like, his anxiety got the better of him. It happens. There's nothing wrong with that. But it was one of those things where the safety pass run leading into stage 3, you could tell that really messed with him. And it just kind of made the mood of the episodes kind of drop down. So there were like a lot of really high highs in this season, a lot of really low lows in this season. And because of the inconsistency, I can't really give it top 5. I'm going to give it to A&W 5, 6, and 7, not in any particular order. I prefer 5, 6, 7, and 8 for sure. I prefer A&W 16 for sure. And I'd say A&W 11 is like just on the outskirts. I could maybe say A&W 4, but A&W 4 isn't like a sentimental favorite of mine or anything. So that's me.
Okay. Wow, because my mind, the reason why I chose this topic, because my mindset was, for the most part, it was like the most balanced of of the seasons I watched. Now, obviously, that's not the case for some of the semifinals and stage 2, but yeah, but with the episodes, with the qualifiers, semifinals, and some of the Vegas, I felt like like for starters, the editing was at least balanced because compared to pa- other seasons, there weren't. Well, for one, there wasn't a lot of sob stories. We can all agree on that, and secondly, like I felt like it of yeah, kind of like flowed well, for the most part. And with some of the editing, it actually gave some spotlight to people you don't see that often. Like at the time, you don't see David Campbell a lot anymore. You didn't and then he got shown. You don't see Lauren Ball a lot, and he got shown stage 2. You have Seth Rogers probably having a better rookie season than Matisse Wadi. Pretty sure anyone could say that. Uh, and also, and the reason why this becomes tricky for me because you have explained a lot of positive points in your arguments, and you kind of also explained like negative problems. So it kind of gave took away a lot from what I can say without repeating. I do agree. I do agree. There are some definite low points. Tacoma and Baltimore, I will give you that. What? Yeah, I will give you. It does. I. However, it doesn't take away from like the overall balance and consistent excitement that I felt during the season. Cause, yeah, yeah, this has, yeah, awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This has become tricky. I think that's all I could say without repeating.
I mean, you could tell them, like, for the sake of, having like, something to in your corner, like, you could tell them what you agree with in regards to what I said about like the positives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Might be living to you, but whatever. So, uh, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, 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 I do agree that the Mega Bowl rules. I don't know why they removed it. I guess COVID, but yeah, I feel like those Mega rules should have been kept. ANW 15 and 16 Mega Bowl rules are also fine, but I definitely prefer the ANW 11 because there's definitely a high risk, high reward type thing. Because once you choose one or the other, you can't go to the other one. So I definitely like those Mega Bowl rules. Also, I feel like with the Power Tower in play, the qualifier courses were built more for speed. I actually, I actually like those fast runs, even though sometimes we didn't get them as much. Check David Alvarez's run or run that takes over 3 minutes, but with the power tower and just a bunch of obstacles that can be done faster, those qualifiers I felt like were pretty much good for speed. I really like those faster runs in, in the qualifiers. If we move to Vegas, because semifinals, it's kind of self-explanatory. Like you have Cincinnati, uh, yeah, you have Cincinnati and LA for semifinals. They were pretty good. You have you have the bad ones, and then you just have the decent ones in the middle. So yeah. Uh, oh, and another thing, you have a bunch of sub-minute runs and qualifiers. That was great to see. Good to see that barrier be broken down. But anyways, Vegas stage 1. I feel like was great. I felt I I felt like was great. You have a decent amount. You have a decent amount of clears. The course actually flowed better. You have diving boards. It was dangerous, yes, but it's a much better balance obstacle than razor beams from the last season. You have tire run being modified. That was good. Pellet bar is gone. Bad obstacle. Uh, and also the overall competitor field. I feel like that was like kind of the best in like recent memory. You have a bunch of rookies. You have the top competitors. There were shocking omissions, but I felt like that kind of heightened like the excitement to it. Like obviously, Jake Murray, he was not there, and Grant McCartney did. Thomas Stillings, he was not invited, of course, but yeah, you have the Bergstroms. So that, especially Caleb Bergstrom, that was a sign of things to come. Seth Rogers, of course, obviously eventually making it to stage three. Uh, uh, I just felt like it, that overall field and energy was like at a high uh by stage one. Obviously stage two, we, that was bad. That was mediocre at best. Um, Stage three, yeah, yes, stage three was good. Yes, it was a bit too much, but to be fair, the past 3 seasons, there were only like 7 attempts, and it was only done by 5 people, and it's the same 5 top people that you would expect on stage three. So honestly, so yeah, so yeah, the fact that we had like 21 attempts on the stage three, it was kind of needed, even not at the scale. It is good to see a lot of more attempts on the stage, and it really shows like the difficulty of some of these obstacles. Like grit and tip, uh, it's whatever. But like a lot of people got to go on the cliffhanger more and show that it is still a deadly obstacle. Uh, you have people going to the back half of the course. Adam Rail and Joe Morosky's fails. I'm like, oh, that was tragic. And you did get to see 2 people who cleared the third stage. Now, now, granted, the final stage is a bit iffy now because of what happened, but still, at the time, it was pretty epic. And you did get, and yes, even though the $1 million rule got brought back after it caused so much controversy, uh, uh, it is good to see at least someone at least get the full million, and someone doesn't get robbed because they actually didn't make it in time. So that was cool to see at the time. Uh, yeah, I think we all know what happened. Yeah. But but overall, I feel like AW 11, while yes, still flawed, it is still exciting and shows really high points in 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 most of the in most of the season. Obviously, there are no flawed points, but I do think that the high points do somewhat take over the low points, and that's all I'll say.
All right. I only have a couple of things for my response. You mentioned the lack of sob stories, but I feel like every other one was about some sort of disease. There was a seizure on screen, and the first run of Cincinnati, as much as we love our boy Philip Scott, it was literally about him having a panic attack, but like right before he ran. And like
Yeah.
there was a lot of heavy-handed stuff in that season. Not to say that that's bad, but just yeah, like there was definitely a lot of sob stories.
Yeah.
And there were definitely some heavy themes in that
Yeah.
season. In terms of who got shown, you brought up like David Campbell, Lauren Ball. The way I see it, I don't care if a competitor that I've known for forever gets shown or not. If they get fast forwarded or cut or whatever. I would like for them to not be cut, but if perfect example from like the racing seasons, like Joe Moravsky gets fast forwarded when he races, and it's because he just absolutely demolished his opponent. It's not really something like it's cool to see, but like when he raced Kevin Rodriguez and Kevin fell on the first obstacle, no one wants to sit there and watching the whole thing when there's other close, exciting races to go in comparison. David Campbell being shown, I mean, it was because he made the power tower. Lauren Ball being shown, it was because he was one of 7 fails on stage 2. Seth Rogers being shown, he had the best rookie result of the whole season. So it's like there were reasons for it, and I give them credit for not screwing those reasons up and screwing those competitors over, but I am just never going to be the guy to be like, oh, well, Adam Rail's my favorite, and they fast-forwarded him, so this episode's worse. And yeah, that's really all I have to say, because besides that, yeah, like you've said, we're pretty much on the same lines with each other. So that is my response.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, I hold season 11 as like one of my closest seasons to me, because this was the one that really cemented my love for Ninja. So obviously, I do have that bias, but obviously, there's also some low points in this. Yeah. All right.
All right, let's see what we got here. I feel so bad. The same like 3 people have been calling and have not been fast enough for their debate. Let's put out the poll for debate number
Bro,
5.
I only put my colon for this one, and I somehow got in. I'm like, what?
I'm not gonna lie, it was like you and Billy were very close. Like you and Billy called it like the exact same time. But
Wow.
the one that calls first is lower on the DM list because it was like less recent, and you were like just below him. It was pretty wild. Well, we're at 8 votes, and we're at a 4-4 tie, folks. So be sure to vote for who you think won this debate. We have about 30 seconds left.
I thought I messed up so much. How is it just this?
You were off to a slower start, but I think you really pulled it back towards the end for sure. You really brought it back up.
The long game. Yeah.
Meanwhile, my cat was swiping at my zipper this whole stream. Okay, with 9 votes, 10 votes, 9 votes again. I don't know what happened there, but the poll is up. Time is up. 60 to 40. GG's, Shattuck. Very well done. Way to bring it back in that second half of your debate. And I'll see you again.
Yep, two more sleeps before my birthday.
Let's go, dude. Happy early birthday. All right.
Thanks, man.
Catch you around.
See ya.
What a guy. What a guy. All right, now we're moving the A&W 11 debate. There are 5 topics left, and I have about 2 hours before I have to go pick up Sasha from her job. Should be done by the time that's done. I wasn't expecting it to be an hour and a half, and we're halfway through the stream. That's kind of wild, but whatever, man. Debate number 6 coming up real quick. Billy, you 100% called me in advance, so I'm not doing that. But we do have a different person that means Blank.
Whoa. Good. Did I lock in? Did I lock in?
You're locked in, bro. Welcome to debate.
Yeah, let's go. Welcome back. I hadn't talked to you for a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a while, honestly. I think it was like, were you at Sasuke too, or did you have to miss that one? No, you were there.
I was at Sasuke too. Yeah, I was.
That's what I thought. It's been like 7 months then. Holy crap.
Oh my god, man. I haven't talked to a while, so I'm glad to be able to talk to you again, but sadly it's in the circumstances of a debate, you know.
Yep. So, with that, my friend, what topic would you like to debate?
Alright, first, I want to ask, what do you think I'm going to pick?
You're gonna pick the Sasuke 19 one. You made it.
I'm picking Nagano over Yuji.
Really? Okay, I'm excited for this one. Yeah,
I like 19, but I don't have a strong enough opinion to debate on it.
Okay, okay. Pulling out
Uh,
the wheel, making sure y'all can see it. And the person going first is me. All right. Okay.
you should have.
Are you ready to debate Makoto Nagano's biggest fan, and tell him that and tell that fan that Nagano's not the best?
I've been ready, man.
Okay. Now, do you want to talk about just skill, or do you want to talk about everything?
I think speaking on legacy, I feel like it's kind of like a hard point to argue against because Nagano was like the second and very influential. But I feel like arguing on like influence is like a very hard topic to cover on.
Fair. We can go with just skill then.
We can go with just skill, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So in terms of skill, I mean, I will say that in terms of like the finger strength, I would give the edge to Yuji. I'll start off by saying that Yuji is a menace when it comes to upper body stuff, and specifically with like pinch grips. We've seen him do well on the vertical limit. We've seen him do well on cliffhangers, and I think that's really nice. But I don't really think he has much of anything else over Nagano in terms of skill. I think Nagano has moved faster. He's moved smoother. I obviously am going to argue the consistency point for Nagano. He has the record for most final stage attempts. He has, cleared stage 3 more than anyone by default, like by extension with that. The only one who can say that they've done the same is Yusuke. And when it comes to Nagano, like, he was essentially the trailblazer in terms of obstacles, and beating them on the spot. I think that's the difference. Yamada may have made the full course. Bunpei had a great setup that he would practice on, and Nagano, he didn't have as much as they did. He maybe didn't get to train as much. We've heard stories quite a bit about Nagano not being able to like train, or he was sick beforehand, or he just didn't train at all before tournaments, and he would still make it to like stage 3 or something. The dude's just a natural athlete. But all that to say, there is a mental component to ninja and to any sport really, to where you can be better than someone in practice, but if you can't lock in and deliver when the time is right, when the lights are on, and it's either hit the buzzer or hit the water, being able to do that on a consistent level is not really something we've seen out of anyone besides Nagano and Yusuke. Yuji, he didn't have that. And by the time he finally had that in him, he was too old to do anything with it. Which is unfortunate, because I will say I'm a bigger fan of Yuji nowadays in like the modern era than I ever was when he was in Shin Sasuke. DWJ Productions, thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. Hope to see you on another stream or watching another video. Yeah, I would have to say that Nagano, he's just a beast. He's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, he's got the agility, he's got the, really all of the tangible skills that you need. And he figured out certain obstacles quicker, like the jumping bars, or it's probably not the greatest comparison considering Yuji didn't really have to worry about jumping bars. And I guess if I have to look at their entire career as well, Yuji's Sasuke career didn't start in his first appearance. Yuji was a trials guy, and he did like the trials in the era where Nagano was dominant, and Nagano was outperforming Yuji in all of those trials. Case in point, Nagano made it into the tournament and Yuji did not. And Yuji may have gotten the second win that Nagano never did. But you could argue that Nagano's second win was robbed of him because of the time limit change. Which again, it doesn't ruin Sasuke 23 for me, but it is a valid point. If it had stayed the same, Nagano would have won with a lot of time to spare. Yuji also struggled on that stage, that specific final stage. The first time around, he didn't beat it. So it's not like he came in and he just obliterated it. It was something that he still had to practice and work on, whereas Nagano was close to doing it within 40 seconds on his first go. And so the only thing I can really give Yuji is the grip strength. We saw that in like Sasuke 27 when Yuji got the ultimate cliffhanger and Nagano did not. That is all I've got to say.
So you're saying Yuji's grip strength, right? But I'd argue he does have a little bit better technique also with him. I think Nagano is just naturally gifted, which does benefit him on some obstacles, but like obstacles that require like a smidge more technique. Like we saw in the jumping bars comparison, you want to say he got on the spot, but we saw in like 14 he failed while like compared to like Kobayashi, he managed to do it first try. I think like saying that he does have an ability to go be clearing it on the spot with some obstacles, but other obstacles that are like not in his specific wheelhouse, like the jumping bars, and we saw the Devil's swing, right? When Pei was able to get it, he tried to replicate it. But he kind of botched it. You know, he's not a bulletproof machine. He's still has holes like when it comes to like technical obstacles sometimes. And I argue Yuji also has like the ability to come back from some mistakes. Like 26 was a scuffed run for him, but Nagano failed immediately. Yuji, he had a scuffed run for sure, but he managed to survive like two obstacles in like kind of clutch ways, like the rolling escargot. He almost failed, but he managed to pull it back. And like the jumping spider, he managed to somehow jump back to the platform without getting disqualified. Now you could argue like the pressure thing with Yuji, but I argue Nagano isn't also like completely immune. We saw in 19 where we needed a third clear. Nagano was the last person running. He had all the shoulders on him. We only saw like two clears, you know, from like two people who aren't like exactly, you know, the biggest names. And when it was that time to deliver, Nagano also couldn't deliver there. So different circumstances where someone needs to like be able to do it in. I'd argue like Nagano's 19 run, he didn't manage to deliver there also. And I also think just like Yuji's thing is, while he's less consistent in like overall, he has the ability to like a comeback from failure after failure, where he wasn't a hot mess like after 31, like the tackle got to him, the pendulum, the rolling hill, but then in 34, we saw him manage to come back to reverse conveyor. We thought that was it, right? But he managed to make it to stage 3, and he showed that he can still keep up as he's getting older. I think Nagano, he was in his prime in 17. After that, like while he was still having success after success, we can tell he was starting to lose it a little bit with the steam, where he was starting to make more mistakes than he was before. And I think after Yuji's win, I think 25, he failed the circle slider, where I think he just made a mistake in the jump where Yuji didn't. And 26, he failed the jumping spider, an obstacle that before then he managed to clear relatively easily, to jump at least, and the only time he failed beforehand was in 24, where he botched the trampoline. I think Nagano on the samurai also is not as good. We saw like Yuji fail in 25, but I think Nagano's first attempt was a little sketchy. He could have potentially failed. He didn't, but we also saw in 18 before that too. He could have failed like the jump to the downhill jump. So I'd argue Yuji's technique was better than Nagano's in a certain sense. I think Nagano's more naturally gifted, but I think Yuji's the better Sasuke player because he's able to have better technique, and his finger strength is on point compared to Nagano. And I just think Yuji also managed to come back improve upon his consistency nowadays, which is more impressive to me than Nagano's like last hurrah in 27 and in some ways 30.
Okay. Is that everything?
Yeah.
Okay. In regards to your arguments about technique, I am going to kind of mark null and void the like careless mistakes that have led to them falling, because they've both had some really stupid falls, like Nagano in
Course.
24, Yuji in 23. Like, they were dumb falls. They were. And so like everyone's prone to that. It's that's an equalizer, so I'm not going to include that when I say it. You drew on the salmon ladder as comparison, but it's also worth noting that you specifically spoke about Sasuke 18 for Nagano.
I want to speak about like 32 on it, but
You can.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, speak on it
But with
after.
18, like, that was the first time the salmon ladder was shown to the public. That was, he had to figure it out as he went. He got to see a couple other people go before him, but he also still, he figured it out. And it wasn't pretty, but nobody's salmon ladder tech is pretty on the first one. Nobody's was on their first attempt. Whereas you're trying to compare the first time anyone ever held a salmon ladder bar and tried to pop up to an instance of Yuji handling himself on any salmon ladder, where the salmon ladder has now been trained for multiple years. And there are salmon ladders, like dozens throughout Japan at that point, for them to train on. And it becomes a more regular practice. With Nagano, specifically in the early days, it was not something that they got to practice at all. And he had to literally think his way through that within a time limit, which I think is more impressive than beating, other specific other versions of the salmon ladder. He also did fairly decent on the swap salmon ladder. It wasn't great, obviously. It didn't end the best, but swap salmon ladder was bull. It was bull crap to begin with. So I'll take a half decent attempt on the swap salmon ladder that ends in a fail over, just a really bad attempt on a regular salmon ladder any day. When it comes to the technique, I just think he can figure it out faster. I think he's shown he can figure it out faster. You take the first time they run the Shin Sasuke final, you compare their times. In 40 seconds, Yuji in 22 is significantly lower on the tower than Nagano in 23. You take Sasuke 32. Like, Sasuke 32 was already the tail end of his career. And at that point, you would think to say, all right, maybe his age is starting to play a factor into it. Maybe he's getting a little older. He's getting a little slower, obviously. We didn't really see a drought in him until after 27. We saw some spotty and stupid falls. When you look at like 19 and 20, he brings it back in 21. He does whatever in 22. He brings it back in 23. He does awful in 24. And everything after that, like, it wasn't a consistent enough drought for me to say that he's washed or he lost it. Whereas with Yuji in 29 onward, really, I'd have to say, like, it was a significant and worrying drought, especially as Sasuke started to transition to once a year, and we saw him get older and start to wear out. I'm honestly very impressed with the fact that he's still performing at the level that he is. Like, I gotta give him credit there, but it's just like, it's just one of those things where I have a hard time with the consistency part. I have a hard time with the little flubs part. And I guess to end it off, I would say that I have never seen Nagano fail the pipe slider the way Yuji has. And when we did see Nagano fail the pipe slider, it was in his first attempt on it. So I will say that. That is all I've
I
got.
do kind of want I do want to just kind of like bring it back to like 23 when Yuji failed to unseal bridge because we know before he almost failed it like the first plank. The fact that he managed to save that is kind of impressive. While he did flub it later, I think Yuji just has a little bit better ability to like save a run, and sometimes where others would have failed. I think once Nagano messed up like the double swing, you can tell it just really ate him up. I think Yuji just manages to like, while his consistency overall is pretty bad, I think he has a solid ability to recover from mistakes within those spotty runs. And I think that's my final point I want to make.
All right, well said. Let's get that poll up. And this is debate number 6. Poll will be up as soon as it hits. I don't know if it's gonna hit 5:54 Eastern like right away. I'll just wait until it hits a minute on my notification, like how long the poll has been up itself. So, and really, I like in my mind, to clarify for all of you guys, I'm debating here like who's second best, who's third best, because in all seriousness, Yusuke is the GOAT, and it's not even close. When it comes to Sasuke, Yusuke blows them out of the water.
We're debating between who's second instead of first, really.
Yeah. It used to be.
Sorry, not.
We used to be debating who, like, this debate would have been who's number 1, who's number 2, and now it's who's number 2, who's number 3. Like, it's insane.
I don't feel like trying to debate over Yusuke being number 1 because too much more effort.
I don't think there's anyone who wins that argument at all.
Apart from people on, like, what? The coin term that you created, Nostalzimers. Yeah!
Well, it is 5-0. Good try, my friend. 'Twas a good time.
It's a tough one to overcome. But hey, glad to be able to talk to you again.
Yeah, man, it was great chatting with you again. All right.
Alright, well, wish you luck on the rest of your debates. I will be there for whoever's debating 19.
Okay. See ya.
Alright, see
What a guy. What a guy. Debate 7 is out. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Here we go. 4 topics left. Billy, you mean man. You are...
Why? What happened?
You are robbing Golden Canadian of his shot.
Well,
How
very,
dare
very
you.
sorry.
Well, there's 4 topics
But-
left. What do you want to do for round 2? We ended in a tie last time. Gonna have to.
Right, I'm so sorry, Golden. But I am going to take your claim that the second era of Kunoichi is better than the first minus the pipe hold.
Okay. And I have to put minus pipe hold because I feel like there's just no way I win this argument if I don't put that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Right.
okay. Oh, the wheel. Hello. Let's get the wheel out.
The way that I...
Billy. All right. Spinning the wheel. And it looks like you are going first this time, my friend.
Right then. So, let's just start it off. I'm gonna assume that the first era counts as 1 to 8, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Kunoichi 1 to 8, I will start by saying is not perfect by any means, and I'll be willing to say the same. The 9, 10, 11 are not perfect either, that group. But I think in terms of having the overall value in terms of what Kunoichi makes it, I do think that the first era of Kunoichi is better because it has so many more higher highs, but also lower lows. Case in point for the lows, because we'll start. Kunoichi 8. and to a lesser extent Kunoichi 1. I say Kunoichi 8 first because obviously the first round with the 4-player races was really, really weird. I don't think anyone will disagree with me on that. It was really, really scuffed. And stage 3 literally just being something that you'd see in the Sasuke trials and Shin Sasuke was an absolute joke. But regardless, the final stage, along with stage 2 in that tournament, were really, really good. Okay? And I'll defend those parts of Kunoichi 8 with life. Kunoichi 1 is funny. I will say that. Kunoichi 1 is a very, very funny tournament to look back on. Because I think even though it's really, really stupid, it's just 40 minutes of females failing balance obstacles. It set the standard for what they had to actually improve on. And then came Kunoichi 2. They improved on that really, really well. I really like the fact that we got at the start of a couple of names there. We had, I forgot the female name for Yamada. We had a female Yamada, I remember, breakout there. We had Masami Yusa, Carry On, being the first proper regular, I suppose, and then Yuko Mizuno started there in Kunoichi 2. And then Kunoichi 3 came around, and then you had Masami Yusa flopping the first obstacle, which is shocking in the grand scheme of Kunoichi so far, even though there's only been 3 tournaments, and then Mizuno having the Nagano 12, basically. What, Casey, what do you mean never beating the sexist allegation?
I'm not gonna
what
lie,
are you talking about?
The same exact thing when you said that too. It was funny. Because I was just like, oh, he set himself up big time.
Listen to me. Okay, I'll carry on. Kunoichi 3 set the standard for what's to come after having a banger tournament. And then Kunoichi 4 and 5, and 6 and 7. You will never get one. It's one of the greatest streaks of any ninja show ever. Kunoichi 4 to 7. It's absolute class. Even though people put 6 a tiny bit below the others, I think 4, 5, and 7 are incredible. Because you have literally Miyake coming out, really, really cool stuff all around. 4, 5, and 6 Kanzens. Who does that? Who does that? That's absolutely incredible, unprecedented at the time. And even though they change up the courses a lot in 4, 5, and 6, and Miyake still has the power and the balance and the dexterity to get through all of it and win time after time after time. And it's really, really just cool to see the dominance, all right? And then Rie comes out, also some really cool stuff. And then you have Maho Tanaka and some other great female competitors on the side as well throughout that area of the show. And it's really, really nice. And Kunoichi 7 essentially being the Sasuke 19 equivalent, which I will let someone else take the 19 one when it comes in terms of the whole debate thing. But I absolutely love Kunoichi 7 for being like a breaking point. After watching Kunoichi 1 through 7 last year in a streak, after not really paying too much attention to it for years, I was genuinely heartbroken because I knew that Miyake fell. I knew that her streak had ended, but seeing like the build up and knowing that was coming and seeing it unfold was really, really saddening. And that's what made it such a really, really good moment. It was awesome. And then we already talked about 8. That is a convoluted but incredible batch of ninja there with good things to look at in every tournament besides maybe like 1. 9, 10, and 11, they're cool. I'm not going to say that they're bad tournaments. I do like them. I like what they did with it. I like that it's back. And who knows, Kunoichi 12 might add something to it, but that's for another day. 9, 10, and 11. You've got 9. Nice return to form. It's good to have 50 women competing. Instead of 100, it brings pacing up a bit more. You get to show more people on the obstacles, and I do like the courses. I do really, really like the courses, a more modern feel to how Sasuke is now, and it's really, really nice. Okay, you can say the same for 10, 11. Minus the pipe hold, I think that the courses are really, really cool. All right, the problem is, unless you nerd out about every single competitor there, I can only name like a few. I can name like notable competitors on my hand from like that era of the show, and even then, some of them are stretching. Because let's see, we've got Izumi first off, then you've got Sakiko Okabe, the last woman standing of 11, I think it is, and then we have Ayano, who broke out. You've got Aya, I believe, and then bloody friggin' Yuko Mizuno coming back at some point. I don't know. There aren't that many notable names to stick around for. That's what I'm saying when it comes to Kunoichi 9, 10, 11. It's cool to see the courses, but I feel like because it's such a short time period, it's really difficult to get an attachment to multiple competitors that aren't just Izumi or Ayano or anything like that. The floor is now yours.
Okay. I will start off. What's up, K-Fly? I'll start off by, addressing Kunoichi 9 to 11. I agree with pretty much all that you said. I think 50 competitors over 100 paces the tournament very well. It leads to some of the better editing across any of the ninja shows out there. I significantly prefer the course over the older era of Kunoichi. I like that, while we didn't get a champion in Kunoichi 9, 10, or 11, whoever would have won or whoever wins Kunoichi is a more well-rounded athlete. The modern era puts more emphasis on the upper body and the lower body in some different ways. You've got some that are, brute, like pushing strength based, some that are speed based, some that are slow balance, some you have a cliffhanger in there. And the older era of Kunoichi was very balance and agility heavy. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do prefer that if someone were to win a ninja show, it's because they were more well-rounded as a competitor. The final stage in the modern era, or the second era, I will call it, because Kunoichi 12 I would almost consider a different era, like a third era, whatever. The 9, 10, and 11 final stages were better than the final stages that we got in the earlier era of Kunoichi. They just weren't very physically demanding. They were a little awkward, specifically, the ladders where you had to go back and forth. I think the most, if your most rigorous version of the final stage is a straight pole climb, you really gotta up the ante of what is, what these athletes are physically capable of. And, I believe that 9, 10, and 11 did that. 9 wasn't a full tournament. It wasn't a full 4 stages. It was 3, pretty much. And, they were able to flesh that out when they got budget increases. And it became a full 4 stages. I liked the bit, and this happens in both eras of Kunoichi, just with different groups of competitors, where you had top Sasuke competitors mentoring Kunoichi competitors. You saw that with the All-Stars in the older era. You see that again with the Morimoto Sadai or the Shin Sadai in this newer era of Kunoichi. I really like that feature. I like that there's, ties to Sasuke without overshadowing what Kunoichi actually is. So that's a credit to both eras. And ultimately, again, just seeing domination on a course that is more diverse in skill set, in my mind, is much more impressive and much more entertaining. Not to mention, the aesthetic is infinitely better on Kunoichi 9, 10, and 11. Having the different stages themed around different colors, having it indoors, while some people don't like that it's indoors because it's not at Midoriyama Studios, I haven't heard another valid reason besides it's not at Midoriyama Studios. The lighting is better. The color scheme is better. It just looks more cinematic. The cameras are in much better places, minus the camera that's on the pipe hold, but that's why I put minus pipe hold. I think it just looks overall much more pleasing as an obstacle course and as an obstacle course show. I will agree that it's hard to name a lot of notable competitors from this era of Kunoichi, but I will counter with the fact that we are talking about an era with 3 tournaments versus a tournament with 8 or an era with 8 tournaments. You know, this modern era didn't get the opportunity it deserved to really grow, and we didn't get the chance to get as invested in other people besides the ones who did incredibly well in those tournaments. I think if it had gone on for 8 tournaments, we'd be talking about the competitors differently. And honestly, because of the gap between Kunoichi 11 and Kunoichi 12, I think we're just going to be starting from scratch all over again, unfortunately. But that is a topic for another time. When it comes to the older era of Kunoichi, you know, I will agree with you on Kunoichi 4 to 7. I love that stretch of tournaments. I think it's great. When I think of domination in Kunoichi, I think of Ayako Miyake. But at the same time, I would rather watch a Hikari Izumi run on stage 1 versus an Ayako Miyake run on stage 1. While stage 1 does change up a lot in between her wins, again, it's just a little too monotonous for me. It's a little bit too much of the same. Balance, agility, climbing something. There is not a single obstacle in Kunoichi that doesn't involve the use of your legs, and at least in the older era. And you know, I prefer seeing even the propeller bars. It's not my favorite stage 3 obstacle, but at least they're hanging. At least they're putting their upper body to the test. I would have preferred to see that in the older tournaments. I was a fan of the 4-person race in Kunoichi 8, honestly, but I don't like repechage. I did not really like stage 3 at all, and their final stage was just a gimme. It was a slam dunk. I don't really care for 1 and 2 at all. And Kunoichi 3 was showing signs of progress, but I don't think it was there enough, especially in comparison to like 4 through 7 and specifically 10 and 11. I don't think Kunoichi 3 really holds a candle to those. Kunoichi 9, I think, is the tournament where you could make an argument for it being a bad tournament or a weak one, because it was on a smaller scale. It wasn't full 4 stages, and it was kind of just testing the waters of bringing the show back. But I think it really started to blossom a bit more in its sequels, and I don't think that 9 was bad enough to say that it was like trash or anything. Whereas the older era of Kunoichi has some trash, quite a bit of trash, and if we were to weigh out the percentages, I think, you know, we're at like a 66% definitely decent tournaments in the modern Kunoichi era, and you could say that it's 100 with 9, 10, and 11, but definitely 10 and 11. And we're looking at like a 50 or like a 62.5% with 5 good tournaments in there and 3 really bad ones. I think it's a little too inconsistent for me to put that era as a whole over 9, 10, and 11. And now the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I do get you with a lot of your points there, to be honest. I do agree that it is nice to have a lot more well-rounded course in the later parts of Kunoichi for 9, 10, 11. But I will say that having an obstacle course show that is fully based around balance, for the most part, in terms of the first era of Kunoichi, it's a nice change of pace, and that's what makes it pretty unique, honestly. Because it's a balanced competition, it makes it a bit more unique, doesn't it? But I do get your point. As a ninja competition, per se, the second era does absolutely wipe the floor with it. But that's why I think the first era has a charm and a feel that doesn't completely match with the second era. Because the second era is so almost Sasuke-ified with how it's presented, how the actual course is, you know. I just think the first era has a bit more of an oomph to it and a bit more personality because of it. Because Kunoichi is, like we were talking about Sasuke 23 and 24 earlier, Kunoichi 9, 10, 11 is essentially just Sasuke light, isn't it? And I know you can kind of see it that way with how the obstacles are made easier for the women to actually do. But in terms of just watching it and seeing progression and story over time, the first year of Kunoichi is better because of it.
Or is that everything?
That's everything, yeah.
Okay. I will absolutely give Higuchi credit in the sense that the obstacles are really cool on Kunoichi. You know, you have some more dynamic, fast moving obstacles, and then you have some obstacles that'll force you to slow down. And I appreciate that on courses. You know, I don't when it comes to balance obstacles, there are different types of balance obstacles and different types of agility obstacles, and I'm glad that he utilized all of them. However, I still can't really get behind looking at a balance course and saying it's ninja. You know, like there's a reason every other show follows a structure for their episodes of qualifiers and stuff like that that A&W has. It's, you know, some steps and then something quick and then maybe another balance or agility obstacle and then some, you know, Lachey based thing and then some pumpy thing and then the warped wall. And it's because, you know, too much of the same thing can be hard to watch. And I will say growing up, I found myself changing the channel more when Kunoichi was on G4 versus when Sasuke was on G4. Just because the obstacles didn't do it for me. They were not the same, or it was too much of the same. They were not different enough to really keep my attention for as long of a time. It definitely, like, I watched them all on G4 anyways. I saw all of them. So it's not like they were bad and I just turned them all away. But, you know, there were very, very few times where I would sit there and be fully invested in a stage 1 or a stage 2 in Kunoichi. I think stage 3 got me because it was stage 3 and it was, you know, right before the final. Let's see who wins. And honestly, all credit where credit is due. Every Kunoichi tournament that's had it does this. I love what they do with the Domino Hill or the Sponge Bridge, whatever y'all want to call it. By far the highlight of every Kunoichi tournament for me that it's in. But that also includes some modern tournaments. So, you know, I find that to be a bit of a moot point. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing that the old era of Kunoichi has that the modern era doesn't also do. And then everything else that is different, in my opinion, the second era does it better than the first. And I will leave it at that.
Okay. Fair dues.
Let's get the poll up. Voting closes after a minute. Oh, crap. Hold up. Don't vote on that one, guys. The options were yes and no, and not our actual names. Let's
Who out of us classifies as a yes type of person, and who's the no type of person?
It didn't glitch, Shattuck. I just straight up forgot to type our names. So, there we go. Now the poll's up with our names. Oh. Are you singing Paladin straight?
Dude, that album was my friggin' I was cleaning the kitchen and that entire album was like playing in the background and I was jamming out. It's a good album, man. I've been listening to it this week.
I mean, you know I love that band. I love 21 Pilots.
Yeah, your entire fucking world's video with that album, and it's a good album.
No, straight up. My phone case is the logo of 21 Pilots with confetti that I got from their concert. And I put it in my phone
actually
case.
Sick.
So,
bro, that's awesome. The only thing I've got is a Retro Dino sticker for Dean Cheatham from Ninja UK, but I'll have that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
like
it has a winner. It is 3-2, and there's still a couple seconds left. Never mind. Billy, you have handed me my first official loss.
Yeah, lads.
GG.
GG's, mate.
Very well done. The tie's officially non-existent. You have broken that tie, and you will take the win. Bam.
Happy
Thank
days.
you very much.
Right. Thank you very, very much. Enjoy the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the final 3 arguments.
Yes. Okay. Oh, whatever, Casey. 21 Pilots has good music, and they have a great message. Yeah, really good music. And they have lore. Shout out the lore. All right, well, 3 prompts left, and we had our first caller jump in as soon as I sent that message. Let's hop on with him. As a reminder, guys, past this point, I want to say everyone who's been calling consistently has gone once. You are welcome to call in again the same way Billy did. But for now, let's join our 8th debater. Golden!
Final! Holy f***, it's the 7th time I've been calling.
No, for real. You've been really going.
I've been spamming you with calls over and over again since, like, the 2nd debate. So, like, really.
That's hilarious. Well, you finally made it. What was your first choice for a topic to debate?
I was initially going to debate on Nagano against Yuji because I had a really good I had really good counterpoints against it. But then it got taken by blank. And then I think it was like, it was something else, but, doesn't matter. What I'm taking now is Sasuke 19 is bad. This is what I'm going to debate on.
Oh, this is going to be a good one. I was wondering who was going to take it. This will be really fun. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting.
So you're spinning the wheel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am going first.
Okay.
Oh, this is the one that I think a lot of people were looking forward to. This was literally like the first one that I thought about when I made this stream, because this has been a topic of discussion with me specifically for a couple of years now. As soon as I told people in the community that I didn't like this tournament, I either had half of them being like, yeah, it sucks. And I had the other half being like, bro, what? It's like top 3. And I'm like, where did that come from? Gosh.
Flashback to 2022 TSN.
No, for real. Oh my gosh. This is going to be really fun. Just need a little stretch because I'm an old man. There we go. All right, Sasuke 19 is bad. For the record, I am not saying it is the worst Sasuke tournament. I think that honor goes to Sasuke 20. But I will just leave a little disclaimer. Sasuke 19 is the most similar to Sasuke 20. So there's that. In reality, Sasuke 19 was the step backwards in Sasuke that we did not need. Sasuke 18 set up a great renewal. And it had, fresh and exciting obstacles. And there were, it wasn't perfect. We still had like Bungee Bridge in Sasuke 18. It wasn't amazing. But every single stage had something that made your jaw drop down to the floor. And, for stage 2, it was the salmon ladder. For stage 3, it was the Shin cliffhanger. For stage 1, it was almost the entire dang thing. Sasuke 19, in terms of the course, does a lot of things right. They, for one, removed the Great Wall, which didn't need to be a thing. And
rope glider would literally almost kill people.
Yeah, they took that out. That's a very smart decision there. But for me, we had our renewal tournament. So to see these results specifically, like just from a number standpoint, I'm not a fan of. I give it a little bit of grace because it is only the 2nd tournament in the new era. So I'm not like super harsh on it in that regard. I'm a little harsher on 20 because at this point you would think that they'd have learned their lesson by now, but whatever. What I have a problem with Sasuke 19 specifically is the fact that it is just a 3-hour edging session. Sasuke 19 is just people going, are they going to do it? Oh no. Are they going to do it? Oh no. Are they going to do it? Oh no. And I understand that they're going to try and add to the shock value by doing that, but it genuinely was just so overdone from an editing standpoint that they never really, like the fact that they didn't follow through with any of those, because they were like, is Shingo going to clear? No. Is Nagano going to clear? No. It wasn't satisfying. It wasn't even shocking at that point because they had done it so much to so many different people that you would just assume Takada's not going to do it. None of the All-Stars are going to do it. No one's going to do it. Not to mention, as cool as it is that, we did get 2 people clear and they weren't super notable competitors. They weren't recognized for their feats in Sasuke specifically. I personally think that's fine. I don't have a problem like, oh, my favorite competitors fell and these 2 randos made it. That doesn't bother me. It is more so the fact that I don't think they spent enough time highlighting those 2 athletes, knowing that is who you're going to be spending the most time with in the tournament. You finally get past stage 1 and all of the focus goes away from the All-Stars, from the people that you've been hyping up, and goes directly to these 2 people who you've given barely any attention to. And then it ends on that stage anyways, which either turns this into a very predictable ending if you look at the edit, or into just a really, really underwhelming finish to a Sasuke tournament, which it absolutely is. Ending on the second stage is pretty cool in the sense that it's the only one that's ever done that, but ending on the second stage is also not cool when it's been setting up that failure for 3 hours. They have been trying to debate you for a while, and about halfway through the tournament, you catch on to the fact that you're getting debated, so it doesn't work anymore. And then, they're like, ha, gotcha, stage 2, it's over. You're like, yeah, I mean, you could kind of see that coming. You just knew that these guys weren't going to do very well. Maybe you would have thought that at least one of them would get to stage 3, but you just knew that nothing was going to go well in that tournament. And yeah, I think the main argument I have is the shock value thing. They go for shock value. To me, it doesn't really deliver well, and it just feels like perfect example, when A&W would hype up the runs for like the safety pass on the power tower, and they're like, from the very beginning,
He failed the first time. Is he gonna do it this time?
Right. It's like when they start in the beginning of the episode and they're like, the top 2 are gonna run for the safety pass. Let's see if he can be in the top 2 for the safety pass. Hey guys, don't forget there's a safety pass race at the end, so they can get you to watch till the end. And then on the actual power tower race, someone fucks up on like the first move of like the hanging, and they fucking fail. And you're just like, well, I stuck around just to watch Daniel Gill race against himself. That's not fun. And I was just using Daniel Gill as a placeholder there, guys, but whatever. That's how this tournament felt. And with that, I will pass the mic on over to you.
Yeah. Well, I've always had a bias for, massacre tournaments, for bloodbath tournaments, because, I like them. Same with, for example, the Baltimore City Finals. I liked them, even if Angry Birds obviously, wasn't really a good obstacle, because, it was just like funny to watch. And, Sasuke 19 has that feeling, because, the real problem with that tournament isn't really, the main thing about that tournament isn't really the fact that it's a step down compared to Sasuke 18 that the show didn't need. It's something that, people didn't expect. So it's shocking in that way. And, your arguments about the fact that, every single time that, competitors were running on the course, you would expect them to fail. That isn't really true, because, you have a bunch of jobbers running the course in, the first 70 runs. And, of course, that with the modifications, no one's going to clear. But then, Yamada clears, and then there's, all the big competitors back then on Sasuke that are coming on. So Shingo comes in, he fails. Bumpy comes in, he fails. Then Kenji comes in, he also fails the jumping spider. But then there, Washimi clears. And, Washimi at that point is not someone that, people don't know at all. He's already cleared stage 1 before. He failed the salmon ladder in Sasuke 18. And, one thing that is really good with, Sasuke 19 in general is it takes everything that was bad about the Sasuke 18 renewal, and it just makes a whole correction out of it. How can you think a renewal is complete when you have obstacles on the course that Yamada can literally beat with ease to the point where he literally gets to the final obstacle of stage 1 in a renewal? He didn't even do that in Sasuke 17. He didn't do that, in fact, in like any tournaments at the end of the Sasuke 5 to 17 era other than like 16. And you had obstacles that were just like terrible to watch. The bungee bridge wasn't even close to getting anyone out. The Great Wall, of course, you mentioned it, and I completely agree with you on that. But there were obstacles that and also the net bridge was removed, of course, on stage 2. That's also one thing I was thinking about. But yeah, flying shoot, honestly, it wasn't bad in 18. Now, they really made it like it should have been in Sasuke 19. The rope, I think, was placed higher. And obviously, well, it necessarily gave less of a margin of error to the competitors, and it's what led to, like, most fails. So, but yeah, otherwise, no, I don't agree about your arguments, related to, like, shock value and stuff like that, because it was definitely shocking. It's like, you get hope when you see, of course, competitors like Yamada and then Washimi clearing, and then all of that hope gets crushed. So, it wasn't really a matter of, like, it wasn't really what you described to me when I watched it. I didn't feel like it. It was like, it never felt like this continuous run of, like, people being expected to fail, especially because of that, like, literally. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say, literally. And also the fact that it's like watching literally Star Wars Episode 3. It's like literally the same feeling.
I'm gonna need you to elaborate on that, because I love that movie, and I have a very strong distaste for Sasuke 19. So I need an elaboration here.
Basically, like, Star Wars Episode 3 starts off as normal. Like, everything goes as according to plan. It's like the beginning of any Star Wars movie. They're in a city. They're coming up against Palpatine, of course, and then shit breaks out. Sasuke 19 as a beginning that is also like any other tournament. There's like comedians at the beginning. There's joke competitors. They're all failing on the first obstacle. Blah, blah, blah. It's so funny. But then, you would expect the clears to come in, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? It doesn't. And then, the tournament runs deeper, and there's basically no one clearing. The All-Stars start failing consecutively, and you can literally, like, there's multiple shots during Sasuke 19 stage 1 of, like, the All-Stars on the sidelines. I remember seeing that when I watched the tournament, and you can literally see their looks completely change as the tournament is going on. And that was, to me, like, so satisfying. It's cruel, but, it's satisfying in a way where, it's cruel. It's like, you've watched tournaments that, had, stages 1 or 2, like, Sasuke 15, like, of course, Nagano failed the metal spin in Sasuke 15, but we're not gonna act like, stage 2 in that tournament was a huge battle. And then out of nowhere, you have, like, this tournament in the middle where literally everyone fails. And just the fact that, they were able to nearly achieve what was the goal of the tournament in the first place, is, like, impressive. Literally, it's fucking impressive. The fact that they were able to get so much competitors to, like, fail, and all-stars that are usually known to be able to, like, beat every obstacle that is in their fucking way. Like, literally first stage is historically a joke at that point for them, because they literally clear all the time, except Yamada, because he's fucking trash. But that's another story, of course. You're literally chatting.
Oh, all right.
But yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, no, I don't agree. Like, there's a good shock value, and also it takes everything bad about Sasuke 19, and yeah, generally, it takes everything bad about Sasuke 18, and it completely scraps it out. You have, like, on paper, a perfect course, literally.
Okay. Um, to that, I'm just gonna say I care more about the presentation of a tournament um, than the actual results itself. I always have. I've never been against a bloodbath. I literally just made a whole debate topic earlier in this stream, literally defending Sasuke 5 as the best tournament of all time, and that was a bloodbath. Um, Pretty much along the same lines of stage 1 of Sasuke 19 as well. I think it fully comes down to the presentation. Um, I I just think it comes down to the presentation really, and I think spending so much time reacting to the like having the all-stars react on the sideline like you're saying, and having them, yes, it does paint the picture of this drought of clears is going on longer than it should have. I agree. To me, instead of enhancing the severity of the situation, it was more so shoving it back in your face as an audience member, like, hey, you're watching this. You're still watching this, and nothing's happened, and you're still watching this. Yes, were certain runs shocking? Yes, absolutely. But also, after the fourth or fifth notable competitor falls, and you're like, well, they're all pretty much equally as good, none of it's really shocking beyond that. You would think that with the exception of Nagano, all the all-stars, maybe Yamada, but all the all-stars are on a generally equal tier level, otherwise they wouldn't be the all-stars. And so once you see two of them fall, you like, okay, well, the other ones are cooked. And that's just the realist in me. Like, I watch things from a very realistic perspective. I don't watch things like, oh, I'm hoping. Of course, I hope that certain people do well. I'm always going to root for people. But if I see something that's very
Jun Sato's gonna
overwhelmingly
consent in Sasuke 42.
right. If I see something with overwhelming evidence that's going to prove otherwise, I'm going to be like, well, that's it. Jun Sato's going to fail the cliffhanger again. Like, that's where my mind's going to go. And that's where my mind goes with Sasuke 19. They are shoving it down our throats that nothing is happening. They are trying to pass it off as storytelling that nothing is happening. And in doing so, I'm just sitting there watching nothing happen. And like, And then a little side note, the stage 2 runs were super underwhelming. We know that. Even if the tournament ended,
they're funny, at least.
Yeah.
Who cares? They're funny. People timing out on the salmon ladder is like fucking based.
I'm just saying, that you made me laugh there, but even then, when it comes to like the stage 2 runs, if they both still fell on, stage 2 and the tournament still ended on stage 2, I would have been fine with that. It's not the results that bother me. However, the presentation of it, again, the storytelling, the lack of storytelling for the two people who cleared, on top of the fact that they fell on the same obstacle. Like, they just didn't. It ended right at the beginning of stage 2. That part is also pretty underwhelming, combined with poor presentation on the aftermath of stage 1 and the transition into stage 2 specifically. The ending is typically what people, will keep in their minds the most. Case in point, Sasuke 40. People glaze the fuck out of Sasuke 40. And, like, yes, they'll talk about Kane and Shingo, but predominantly the conversation that was leading up to Sasuke 41 was about Yoshiyuki and Tada and Keitaro potentially, rivaling Yusuke. That was the number one conversation starter.
Yep.
And that was the
I think I remember.
That's because the ending left that taste in their mouth. Sasuke 19 leaves an awful taste in your mouth when it comes to the ending. And it's not because it ends on stage 2. It's because of how and a little bit of where it ends on stage 2, but mainly how it ends on stage 2, how it's presented. It felt almost as if we were getting mocked as an audience, and like just through the editing. The cuts of seriousness being like, oh shit, no one's clearing. Sure, it's passable. We see that in every tournament, so it's not like it's anything out of the ordinary. But going really, really heavy-handed on it, because you know that a lot of the runs are half as long as normal, and you need something to fill the dead space, so you're just going to keep reiterating that point over and over. I think that's pretty rough. So I can see where you're coming from. I just don't agree with it.
Yeah. Can you define again what you consider like presentation overall? Is it like, editing, I imagine, like is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Editing is definitely
when you're
a big
talking
part
about
of it.
presentation.
Editing is definitely a big part of it. I would also say the pacing. There's a lot of different storylines in ninja shows, in ninja tournaments, and your ability to balance all of them without making them super lopsided in one way or another, like how the World Cup gassed up Iwamoto's time. Granted, he's a celebrity, but like the imbalance there versus what we got from the rest of the competitors and the rest of the storylines, it creates an imbalance, and it to me diminishes the quality of the World Cup. It's the same way I feel about Sasuke 19.
I mean, if I had to bring like another point about, what you mentioned, like the fact that they put in people's throat literally that, everyone is failing, nothing's going on, and that, the stage, the course on paper is like literally destroying the competitors. Literally, like, how can I say this? I literally start saying shit and then I forget it like 10 seconds after. That's how like terrible my memory is.
Take your time.
Yeah, how can I say this? Like, yeah, I'm a terrible debater. Like, honestly, I'm a terrible debater. I just wanted to be like on the stream for fun, but yeah.
Honestly, I thought your first points, I thought you handled yourself very well. Like from a debating standpoint, I still don't agree. Like I don't think anyone's ever gonna make me budge on this take, but I think you've been speaking very well.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Dude, it's terrible, man. What was it already? Because I was talking about the presentation. And what else? I'm probably gonna be last, not gonna lie. Like, considering I can't even remember, like, a counterpoint, I'm probably gonna be last, honestly. Did
you wanna keep going, or did you wanna put the poll out?
No, I'm gonna keep going, yeah.
Alright.
I think what you mentioned is, like, literally the fact that, we're being, shoved down into that path of, like, the competitors can't be the course. The competitors can't be the course again. And what I was going to say is like, when you're in the moment and when you're watching the tournament, and to me personally, it's subjective, but, other people can agree to it. And even, at the same time, when you rewatch it after, because Sasuke 19, isn't that snooze fest that, some other tournaments are, that are also a bloodbath. Like, for example, Sasuke 20, is in that same situation. It was a bloodbath as well. But, the reason people didn't like it is, literally because it was dragged out. When, the broadcasts, excluding commercials, is literally like an hour and 40 minutes, you don't really have the time to notice it. it's not really noticeable, honestly. You know, maybe you over focused on that. I don't know what happened to you when you watched you know, Sasuke 19. Um, but you know, it's like they literally mention the results that you know happened recently, and like you know, they show the graphics on screen of like how much people attempted the course and then how much people cleared it, and then they just move on to another run. So yes, of course, you know, um, sometimes they might make that mistake of you know excessively bringing forward, you know, the fact that you know the course is difficult and blah 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 blah, and but you know at you know at the end of the day, what we're getting is content, and um, historically, like what you're coming from in that moment, you're literally not expecting it in the beginning. Then you might expect it, of course, when you know you get to the 80s and the 90s, and like you know Nagasaki Shunsuke fails. Yamada, well, that was pretty much expected. So you know I'm not even gonna bother on like arguing on that. You know that was predictable, but like every single one of his fails are predictable. Takeda, you know, when Takeda fails, um, uh, uh, um, but yeah, uh, 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 um, it's more like you know you're watching the tournament and you're like staring at your screen, pleading for it not to happen. You're like, please don't fail Nagano, please don't fail Nagano, please don't fail Nagano, please don't. And then it just happens as well. Like everything you don't want to see happening in the tournament because you know you want people to clear, you want people to do well in the tournament, and then you know again from the point of view of like someone else who's watching, like I personally like it because you know what I said earlier is I think it is satisfying after you know seeing a bunch of tournaments where people are just like literally destroying the course. It's you know a good contrast compared to the difficulty of some of the obstacles on Sasuke 18, which is like abysmal. Like it's not even, you know, I could literally clear Bungee Bridge. I'm pretty confident, and I'm not even an athletic. And so you know, seeing that contrast in like another person, it makes the tournament, you know, frustrating because you know, and obviously, you know, it necessarily in the long run makes it more memorable, like for good ways, because like you it's not even a matter of like thinking or not it's gonna happen. It's like hoping it's not gonna happen. And you know, when you're in the moment, when you're watching the tournaments, that's literally all you think about. You're not really into that realistic mindset. You know, when you're watching it for you know the second time, it may not be a top 10 tournament. It may not be amazing retrospectively when you're gonna watch it, but like you know, when you get out of that tournament after watching it, it's like watching every single tournament of Sasuke nowadays. It's like you're watching it at the end, you're like, fuck, what did I just watch? And then you watch it back and you're like, okay, it's not as good as like, you know, I watch it, of course, but it's still not bad. So like Sasuke 19 is not a bad tournament.
Okay. Very well said towards the end there, once you remembered your thought. The poll is now up. It will be up for a minute.
Can I vote? Can I vote for myself or?
No, I haven't been voting for myself.
Well, everyone's gonna vote Kane. I know that everyone's gonna vote
right
Kane.
now,
I did terrible.
Hey, it's wow. We're going back and forth quite a bit, actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How is it, guys? How is it close?
Right now.
How?
Well, you spoke well in the beginning. You spoke well in the end. You had the little fumble in the middle, but there's also the fact of I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority here, and there is the little aspect of do you agree with them more as well?
Yeah.
So like
that's what I was thinking about. I was like, I'm gonna pick Sasuke 19 because I know generally people like it. You know, it gives me a good chance. It gives me like a head start. It was literally what I was thinking about.
Fair. All right.
You know, it actually gives me a chance.
We have tied 3-3.
No fucking way.
Well done. It started off 2-1, and then I pulled up 3-2, and then you got one last vote in the last like 10 seconds. Well,
I sound. pretty impressive that I don't know how to fucking articulate. I don't even know. My friend she has doesn't even know how to speak English correctly. And yet, Kane didn't even beat me in an argument. I find that quite impressive. But yeah, it was a blast to be on your stream, Kane. And yeah, goodbye. See ya.
Yeah, see you, man. Great job. All right, I'm gonna take like a 3-minute break. We have 2 more left. When you see debate 9 in the chat, feel free to call. But my cat has been jumping up in my face. It is around that time where I need to feed her. So I'm gonna go feed my cat, and after that, I kind of have to be quick because I'm supposed to pick up Sasha in like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. So we'll have 30 minutes or so to do the last 2 topics. Welcome back. We are back for the last 2 parts of the last 2 parts of the stream. We got 2 subjects left. If everyone just generally agrees with me on 1 or 2 of these, like, we can just call it, you know? I feel like the second one, this one, I feel like this one is generally something I could see more people agreeing with. Like, that might be my coldest take out of everything on the list. I'm not getting any more calls, so I forgot a couple of points about Sasuke 19, honestly. Um, Casey, but it's not a debate. You know what? Whatever. Let's do it. Let's yeah, call me. Sure. Yo.
Ooh, wait, hold speaker. Okay. Let me turn this off. Can they hear me?
They should be able to. I can hear you, and I'm connected to it, so yes.
Okay, perfect. So, I will be completely honest and say NW12 is top 5 NW seasons of all time. That is my take. Here's why. Creative obstacles. What's the other one? The story pieces, people got on them a lot, but they were actually really well made. Stuff like Paulina Vila's, JJ Woods's, both in qualifiers, Alyssa Beard's on remote teaching. They did really well in that regard. And in addition, I actually really like the format. Like, I know the Power Tower top 8 bracket was kind of a last minute, like, throw everything on the wall, see what sticks. But I felt like it was a lot of fun watching qualifiers and semis and finals. It was very quick and to the point. Because it was just 8 episodes. It was like kind of mini, so it never really got old. Which is, it never really felt like, compared to now with so many, like a full out season that kind of follows this same format of qualifiers, semis, finals, and then a bracket. It's very elongated and just kind of like, it's kind of just boring. It gets really hard to distinguish episodes. I can kind of tell at the top of my head because every episode was pretty stacked, and it really felt like the best of the best. Even if there were some people that felt early or whatever, it really felt like the best of the best because you had so many highlights. Even in the first episode with Drew being censored. That is my take.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. You know this. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of problems with ANW12. I don't think it's perfect. I don't know if I would go as far as to say it's top 5, but it's probably in like the 6 or 7 range. I absolutely love the finals, and I love all of the obstacles. All of the obstacles.
Right.
It might be my favorite batch of obstacles ever made on a consistently out of a single season. The dungeon, freaking dragon back, rib run is still my favorite agility obstacle. You had wait for it, you had clockwork, you had all these like bangers, man. Falling shelves made its debut. Like
Falling shelves.
It's wild. And the finals field, you are absolutely right. Incredibly stacked group. Even just like you only had like 27 athletes, 26 cutting Drew from the broadcast, and it was still like Joe Moravsky, RJ Roman, Jesse Graff, Sandy Silverman back when she was still delivering, Donovan Matoyer, Najee Richardson. Like, it was wild. It was wild. And then like the top 8, Amir Malik had a great breakout season. Something that I will say, a lot of people are critical of the team aspect of qualifiers. I personally was fine with it. I didn't have a problem with it a whole lot because a lot of the profile pieces were about the team. You know, at least two people on the team, maybe 3 people on the team, and it allowed for us to just get through the rest of the runs in a more timely manner.
And it didn't really feel like, the thing is, it didn't feel intrusive. Like, all it really did was, if someone made top 2 and won that power tower race, they'd bring 2 more people to add variety in the results. So maybe even if they're not the best person, it's still an incredibly stacked, not the best ninja, it's still an incredibly stacked, like, final and semifinal and everything like that. It doesn't really change. Like, it doesn't change anything. Like, it's still incredibly stacked. That's my stance.
Yeah, it was a great time, and there were still great moments too. Honestly, I'm not like a huge random cough there. I'm not.
Oh my god.
I'm not like the biggest fan of David Campbell, but David Campbell getting the Mega Wall was freaking tough. That shit was awesome.
What? That was shocking. Like, because watching it live was, like, insane.
Yeah.
It was, and honestly, like, the runs were really high quality too, even besides David Campbell. Najee Richardson's clear. Most of the Power Tower races were really fun. Like, Jake Murray versus Amir Malik lives rent-free in my head. Yeah. There is so much, like, highlight
Daniel Gill versus Adam Rail was
wild. Yes. Oh my,
wild.
Yeah. Really, there's so many highlights within the runs, and it doesn't really feel like it. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, you left and right, you still get so many highlights within the runs. So it's not really a snooze fest. It just keeps going. It just keeps going and going and going and going. It's really, really fun. I really liked it.
Well, with that, the poll is out. Vote for who you guys think won. Debate 9.
Can I actually vote in this one?
Yeah, go for it. I'm gonna vote in this one because why not?
The one that has me first.
Shocker. I actually don't think I can vote now that I see it, which makes sense. I shouldn't be able to vote. Bro,
guys,
this
who
poll is sexist.
Why? Oh, wait. Is it because you're first in the thing?
The one where I'm first is up 2-1.
Oh my god, that's so sexist. They literally might as well tell me that women belong in the kitchen.
Bro.
They literally might as well tell me that.
Oh my gosh, Casey!
What?
Crazy.
Oh my god, we're in the lead. We're in the lead.
Yes,
I'm in the lead.
We are in the lead.
Feminism wins again.
We've hit our minute, which means Casey and I win. Let's go. Hey, yo. Radium hitting us with the Kunoichi joke, too. That's hilarious. That's crazy. All right.
My god.
Well, does anyone want to debate me on this last one? The idea that, like, the ideal runtime for a qualifier or semifinal episode is an hour.
I considered this initially, but I was thinking, oh, Chase wants to do it.
Chase.
Give me a second.
Oh, snap.
Just give me.
Let's use the group chat.
Oh my god, wait. Hi. Great.
What's up, gang?
Okay.
Wait.
Hi.
Oh, let me put this on speaker.
So
This is a good time to have a group chat.
My take that you are debating against is that I think that Ninja Warrior qualifiers and semifinals episodes should not be longer than an hour.
I disagree because they call so many ninjas a year, and so many get cut or their runs are digested. So this gives us more time to see some of the other ninjas that people don't really get to see a whole lot.
Well said, Chase.
Yeah, I know.
I will counter that by saying in a 2-hour episode, they'll show 32 people, and in a 1-hour episode, they've shown about 27 people. So we're really not missing that much extra. It sucks
still
for those
missing
extra.
extra.
It sucks for those extra
Hold
5
on.
people who are getting cut and whatnot, but I have
hold on.
counted this. I've been counting this for like years. Like in my reviews and stuff, I literally count them and I go through it.
Pull up the AW list.
Well, that's the case, though. The Ninja Warrior should show
I don't-
more runs, and like digested runs are good because like it gives you like a brief rundown on a ninja, and you get to see like their skill level and know what to expect from them in the future, versus like not showing them at all.
Okay, wait. Okay, so I have the A&W 15 stats for who gets shown. Let me average it out. You guys can keep fighting.
Okay. I'm gonna respond to both Chase and Ninja Gamer. Ninja Gamer said also episodes are once a week, so why wait 7 days just for 60 minutes, 42 without ads?
Agreed.
Quite frankly, it's because the courses are always the same nowadays, and even then, when you're going through qualifiers and semifinals, the courses are same, like very much the same majority of the time. And
Yeah, I feel like it would be more fun if
think
the courses were different.
Right. I think it would warrant a longer time if there was more diversity in the courses. But we don't get that nowadays. We haven't gotten that for like 5 or 6 years now. And
Yeah, it's been a
because
while.
of that, I don't feel as inclined to sit there for 2 hours, an hour 20 without ads, and watch people running one at a time on this random stuff, and then they're gonna show a profile piece on Chick-fil-A, and
I swear to God,
it was so bad. It was so bad.
That
And they're gonna
nice
show a
had me
profile
rolling
piece
on
on
the floor
Chick-fil-A,
crying,
and in
especially
exchange they're
Flip's
gonna cut like
reaction.
they're gonna cut like James McGrath for that or something like that. Like I'd rather
I
get
forgot.
I would rather get bad
Like,
pacing.
listen,
for
the
an
editing
episode
is
that's
really
an
bad.
hour.
The editors have no clue what they're doing, in my opinion.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
the editors are just horrible.
I would
Lock them
rather
up and throw
watch-
away the key.
I would rather watch a poorly edited 1-hour episode of A&W than a poorly edited 2-hour episode of A&W, unless it's like the Vegas finals. I had
Right.
to put qualifiers in semifinals because like I don't want
Vegas is Vegas.
Vegas should not be an hour long. That would suck.
We were
If
literally
Vegas was an hour long, I would be angry because, like, it's Vegas. You're getting to see, like, so many stage 1 runs, and the courses are so much longer on Vegas than they are in semis. And, well, scratch semis, because semis are long this season, but, like, when it went to racing and, qualifiers is just a short course, like, if they cut Vegas and expanded semis and qualifiers, then I would be annoyed.
In regards to racing in the semifinals as well,
Yeah.
everyone
Right.
was shown, with the exception of like 1 or 2 races for like medical or like hiding the fact that they're rigged reasons.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I
I've
think
heard
there's-
of a
I think
couple
there's more of
ninjas
a
that
benefit
got
to that as well. Dude, the knife ad! Oh my gosh!
the knife ad had me crying laughing. It
Get
was like
that
when
outta
Flips
here.
reacted to it too. I could not.
Flip stream literally summarized everything that I wanted to say.
Every feeling we had, and then they pit that rapper and then the knife guy against each other, and the whole chat is just completely dogging on them. Cause like there was no good choice on who to root for. It was the funniest thing ever.
Moms were like getting in on it. Fuck this guy.
What was the knife
Like,
ad? Alright, so the knife ad pretty much was this ninja who, Ben Cooper, he had Ninja Warrior put a knife ad in their thing for his profile. So we got a 2-minute knife ad for a dude that didn't even do very well.
I forgot. He made it to like Jawbreakers and then didn't even make semis. Like, that's so embarrassing. And
Did he make Jawbreakers or did he fall earlier? Because he was in the runoffs.
I think it fell earlier because he was one of the runoff races, yeah.
Ooh, hold on, let me look this up.
Flip had me choking on nothing. Oh my god, I was crying.
Flynn Flip was like so pissed off, like during that.
His reaction was hysterical. He's just cussing out the stream, cussing out A&W editors, and then the whole chat getting in on it. I couldn't breathe for a good 30 minutes. I was crying.
If he doesn't get invited to A&W 18, we know why.
What? Oh yeah, no, we know why.
We absolutely know why.
We know why.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put the poll out since now we're just talking about knives. This is the final debate.
Oh, why here? You're so mean. Kane thinks two women.
Oh, get this. You know what? I'm gonna expose her for a second here. Sasha, love that woman, love of my life, amazing. But she walked out of the house and locked herself out. She left her keys on the inside. So she had to literally go. She had to take an Uber to work, and now I have to go and get her.
Oh my god.
Why is Flip getting the axe? We can't say on stream. You'll see. I don't think he's getting the axe though. It's like if he does, we know why.
Oh my god, don't even get me started.
How did this happen?
Bro, I really want to go on about that so badly, but I can't.
Oh my god, wait.
I could. Like, I can't.
How is this? How did this poll happen? How did Chase absolutely kick my ass in this debate? What happened? I got swept.
It's girl. See, this is what you
girl
get.
Power.
This is what you get for not putting me on the poll.
You were in twice.
What?
I literally wasn't on the 10th poll. What are you talking about? Whatever. We knew. So their beef with NBC. Actually, Flip punched the NBC producer in the face and then kicked his balls.
Guys, they don't understand sarcasm like that. Well, you know what? They're on my streams. They probably should understand sarcasm like that.
Yeah, Flip actually,
how's everybody feeling?
Flip Shadow on NBC. Y'all are crazy.
How are we feeling for the upcoming season? How are we feeling for AW 17?
It's gonna be a season.
It will definitely be a season.
One of the seasons of all.
I am just curious as to how it's going to be, presented.
Yeah, I think we all know why.
No,
it's gonna be.
I'm just curious.
You know why?
Like the new format and everything.
So, what are you gonna say? Because on one of the earlier streams, like I think from 2023, I distinctly made a note in my head that has lasted for like a year, where you said, if AW 17 happens, I will spoil the entire season on stream. What are you gonna say about that?
Oh my gosh, did I say that?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Where'd Chase go?
I don't know.
Hold on. Oh, there's Chase.
Left Discord. Sorry.
Well, what are you gonna say about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even remember when I said that. Oh, gosh.
Well, by the words of every ninja I've ever met, if it was on video, it happened, and if it wasn't on video, it never happened. So if Casey says it's on stream somewhere,
it's probably no, like 100%. Like I feel like I vaguely remember saying that. I just don't remember when. I'm not gonna spoil it right now. It's not even 2025
I know all the
yet,
spoilers. I have the whole scoop.
Chase, you only have the whole. I tell you.
Oh yeah, no. Casey gave me the whole scoop. I have been sworn to secrecy on everything though. Like, I will not say a thing.
Jane tells me, and she only knows the spoilers because I tell her.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything though. I haven't given anybody the scoop. Casey and I are the only ones that know the scoop.
Yes.
Actually, Ken might know. I think he has his sources. Because he knew everything about 15 and 16.
I don't know if I know what you're referring to directly, actually. I know the results. I don't know if there's anything beyond that. So if there is something beyond that,
That's what I mean. Like you knew a lot of what happened last season, I think, because he told me.
Yeah, in regards to you guys referring to Flip and stuff, I know how Flip does this season, and
I do too.
That is all.
Yes.
I don't know any other. I don't have any other context like that.
I wonder why is there my siblings are blasting Minecraft music through the floor, so I'm sorry.
Period.
Bruh.
Yeah, no. I wonder if they'll show
I am sure.
Shattuck, just to clarify, only a few of us knew. Not all of TSN knew. And I'm saying that because they're going to do a results prediction, and it's people who don't know the results.
Yeah, we're not allowed to vote.
Yeah. So.
What Minecraft music? Oh crap! Hold on. I recognize it because I listen to it all the time, but I don't remember the name of it because they have such random names. I think it's Aria 14.
Period. Yeah, no, I'm just like, okay, if anyone wants to Venmo me, because I just got a Venmo, Venmo me, Venmo me $30 and I will.
That's crazy.
It's me. Casey.
Alright, I'm gonna wrap stream. Ladies, thank you for joining. I have to go pick up Sasha. Alright, y'all. That is gonna do it for the debate stream. And that is gonna do it for November. We are done with November. Pretty crazy stuff. Tomorrow is December 1st. For some of you, it's already December 1st. December is the busiest month of the year for me when it comes to videos and other content. Basically, coming out on my channel and just my channel. Next weekend, I have a competition. I have another competition the week after that. But on December 8th or 7th, you will see my competition run. The week after that, we are doing the funeral of Ninja Warrior UK. We're going to do an episode of Soapbox. We're going to do a review of Super Ninja 3 if it ends, and if the 2025 episode is just a special. We're going to do a review of Ninja Warrior Germany 9. I'll be recording that next week or this coming Friday. I'll be recording it this coming weekend when everything's done. I'm doing the best of 2024, so if you have any good moments from this year, from any videos that I've been in on any channels, be sure to throw it out there. Like, why not? It's fun. I'll maybe put it in a compilation. I'm going to rank all the specials. I'm going to rank all the finales. And then I'm going to do a Sasuke 42 review. And then I'm going to rank all of the shows where instead of just talking about the finales, I talk about all of it as a whole. Including qualifiers and semifinals. And that will be 2024. 2025 is going to be a big year, but we still got one more month of banger ninja content. The funeral of Ninja Warrior UK is going to go insanely fucking hard. You guys have no idea. But with that said, again, thank you guys very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace!